mariachi music that plays when we go live or something. We need something to like greet people. Maybe I can contract Smeggy to come do some music for us. I don't know.
I was just going to say I'm no Smeggy, but I could do the do if you wanted.
Yeah, why don't you go and give us some intro music, John? Just give us a little. Come on, you're a music man. Do this for us. Break it down, brother.
This is not Smeggy. This is not hit or miss. Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock. Welcome to Caliber Corner. Here's Travis.
All right, welcome to Caliber Corner, episode number 73. Oh my God! Yeah, Smeggy's going to come after us for copyright infringement now, so this is going to be bad. We're probably going to get a strike. We're going to get a night strike on our channel. So,
I'd like to say that I'm ashamed to be on this crew.
You're welcome,
Squib. We love you too, man. We love you too, man. It's good to have you here, brother. So, guys, episode 73. We're all a little slow this morning. We're all a little bit groggy. It's pre-holiday.
I'm always slow.
There you go. We're trying to get ourselves mentally prepared for the in-laws as we encounter this upcoming holiday season. So let's go ahead and talk here real quick. Let's see who's joining in. Let's go and do some attendance. So we got Midnight Range TM joining in. We got Blue Steel 44, Cadillac Jack in the house. Southpaw RX is with us. Ozzy Orsborn's hanging out. Sketchy Rolls half asleep. Scott P79 says, good morning, sir. Freedom for All's getting ready to go to the range. Amen, brother. And over on the gun channel side, we got Paper Plane Crash over there. We've got Patrick joining in. Sandhills is there. Sandhills is here. Let's go ahead and let the panel introduce themselves and say a few words, make a few plugs, and we'll fire it up, man. Gonna have a lively discussion on milsurp and food preps. Tony, you're awake. You're the first person that joined us this morning. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm wondering what all these people are doing out of bed this morning, but hey, I'm glad to see y'all here.
I'm still in bed.
This is not an easy time slot. You know, if I have 20 people watching, I feel like I've accomplished something. I mean, half the world's still sleeping or getting their kids ready or just waking up and having their first cup of coffee. So this is kind of a slow burn podcast where people start to warm up to it as the day goes on. Yeah, Tony.
Finish what I was saying about the shoes before we came online. The track coach told me that there is money for the school when my kids place well in track. And I'm like, did not know that.
I don't know if financial compensation. The school will get money for hosting events, and if you have championship teams, many times you're chosen as the venue, but the kids themselves don't get direct compensation money-wise.
No.
Should not.
She was saying money for the school.
I don't know. Not every state's different, but not for Nebraska. You don't get a financial reward if you take state. There is no financial compensation. There could be money there to help support the trip to state itself or to cover the expenses for schools that might not be capable of covering the cost. But again, every state's different. There could be some sort of a title reward that goes to the school. Not that I know of, but yeah.
I don't know. Several of my kids hold records at the school for running. So
okay. Well, they're trying to get away from you, Tony.
Probably.
It's probably an underground gambling league that all the teachers partake in.
Come on, 7.
Like I said, I didn't press the issue. I'm like whatever, you know.
All right, so Tony, here's the deal. We're what are we at? We're 8 days out from January. Is early watch going to happen or what?
I can't answer that yet. My freaking internet is absolutely not stable.
Okay, not a problem, man.
But it is improving. I think Verizon's having to do some software upgrades or stuff to let it recognize that these pay-as-you-go phones are able to have unlimited data.
Well, you know, not to make it a tech chat, but I have seen videos where there's several companies that use Verizon lines, and they do give you the 4G speeds, but you don't get the upper crust of the 4G versus a traditional Verizon customer or a prepaid Verizon customer. I have seen data tests where they show the speed difference, and there could be like a 20-25% difference in your data speed, and that's just Verizon giving preference to their own customers. You know, while you're still on their network, you know, things like Straight Talk or Walmart has a new one. No, they've had one that's been out for a couple of years, but anyway, you don't always get that.
TrackPhone.
TrackPhone also uses Verizon's lines too. Well, TrackPhone and Straight Talk and Total Wireless, they're all under the same TrackPhone family, but. So that could be a possibility, Tony. Is it a contracted Verizon phone or what?
Yes.
Prepaid Verizon? Oh,
Verizon.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I've been with them for years.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know, man. It could maybe the phone just doesn't handle the data quick enough. It's hard telling. But
Because it's the same phone I started with. It's years old too.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that might help if you get something more. It's got the processing that can handle it. So, all right, man. Squib, you want to check in real quick? Are you able-bodied? You good to go?
Yeah, I got my mop chopped. It's kind of funny. I get there right when they open. I'm never there right when they open. But my schedule today dictates that. So I get in, and there's 3 guys ahead of me, and I'm going. They open at 8. I got there at 7:59. How is that? One of the guys has got a haircut that, I mean, it's short. It's really short. The other guy is bald. I'm like, what's with the bald guy getting his haircut? I think
he coming in for just the morning, let it shave or something, trim it until trim and go, or what?
I thought, okay, maybe he's just here to talk to the barber. Well, he's just waiting and waiting. Right? He gets up there. I'm like, wait a minute, I've seen this guy before. He goes up there and they run the razor, over his head. They buzz his head. There's nothing to buzz. I think he just does it like he's in denial. He's in denial, and they're giving him therapy. Like it's kind of I mean, I may end up doing this one day. I'll be that guy, right? When I finally lose the rest of my hair, be like, no, it's there. Like the king's new clothes, right?
Yeah, that's probably what it comes down to.
Somebody with a full head of hair.
Yeah. So I'm back from the barbershop. I finally have my coffee. I got up. I didn't even have coffee. So.
That's not. Ooh, man.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying. You know exactly what I'm saying.
I'm surprised you're not more cranky. I start to have withdrawal if I don't have a cup of coffee in me by 8 a.m. every morning. So.
My mother-in-law is sitting right across the room from me. I am on my best behavior.
Well, Squibby, I'm glad to see that you put such a priority on Caliber Corner to go get your haircut without having coffee early and all that.
Good, Squib.
Hey, man. Yeah, see, Travis knows what I'm talking about. No, it's all about the art, Tony. It's all about I suffer for my art.
You do. You are an artist. You are an artist. So Squib, if one wants to find you, where can one go? Where are you at?
Just come over here and listen to me on this show because I do better live than in my videos.
All right, man. Cool. Well, thanks for joining in. You've been here since day one, if I'm not mistaken, and it's good to have you with us. So.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Right. Whew, man, 73 episodes later, still at it, huh? All right. Okay. Sandhills Shooter is joining us from the beautiful state of Nebraska. So what's Nebraska like, Sandhills? I'm curious.
If you've never been to Nebraska, and I think you maybe have, but for those of you who have never been here, we're the best kept secret in the Union. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful here. There are some places that are flat and boring, but there are also some places with beautiful rolling hills, grassland, river bottoms. There's just all kinds of wildlife. You can see it in different parts of the state. You can see white-tailed deer, mule deer, antelope, elk, bald eagles, coyotes, foxes, bobcats.
The occasional moose will wander down here somehow.
Do they have elk hunting there?
They do have elk hunting.
We have a season for it. Yeah, we have a tag.
There aren't enough that there's not very many permits, and they're all on a lottery. But you can draw a permit for elk. You can even draw a permit for elk in the hunting unit where Travis and I are going in a couple weeks. There's a few of them there.
Yeah.
But Nebraska's not known for elk, but there are elk in the state. There are there's even I think 2 tags a year that are drawn for bighorn sheep.
And don't forget, we are the flyover state for migratory birds everywhere.
That's right. That's right.
Geese, ducks. We got cranes, which are
selling point.
737s.
737,
C-17s,
crop dusters. Yeah, but no, seriously, if you guys are into any kind of upland game bird or waterfowl, this is the place to be. I mean, if you look at, there's a lot of hunting shows that get filmed here too, and the out-of-state prices can be a little high, but it's also a lot cheaper than having to go pay for a private land hunt in some states. You can actually do really well here. We've got 200, I think it's around 250 public hunting access areas where anybody can go. So I mean, it just depends. They're all over the state. So I mean, some of them get busier than others on opening day or whatever, but you're always able to find something. So yeah, and again, what's that?
That migration path ain't the best sales tactic because all them birds flying over shit everywhere.
Well, yeah, that's part of the risk you take. But I'm just saying, if you want,
there are a lot of people that come from other states just to look at the Sandhills cranes.
and man, I'll tell you right now, if you are somebody that enjoys taking out snow geese, we have no bag limit, and they are thick. I mean, I've seen just thousands and thousands of them. Or
boys, get the USAS 12. We're going hunting.
They were showing something off at Chacho a year or two ago. They were showing off something that had like a 25 shell capacity semi-auto. I'm like, oh my God, the snow geese applications on that shotgun. It was like one of those multi-barrel things.
Kind of makes you wish that the punt gun was still legal, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
We have a flock of snow geese that stay here year round.
Really?
Yes.
They must have figured out that they're not going to get molested, huh?
There's a lake that's just outside of town with a little subdivision built around it, and the geese stay there. And there's several hundred of them that stay there year round.
Let's see. In the chat, real quick, Bass Boy saying he's I'm taking your favorite gun to hate. What, the Sky CPX2? Hey, I'm not saying it ain't gonna run. Just make sure you take some reassembly tools, and within 1,000 rounds, you have to replace the slide and the barrel and the guide rod and the spring. And I hope to God the magazine's pulled together. Other than that,
Midnight Range was saying out there that in Nebraska we give moose milk to the school kids, and that is absolutely a lie. Just for the record, in Nebraska,
yeah, that's Alaska that they do that.
Yeah, that's Alaska. In Nebraska, the school kids have to just go out and milk the cows every morning.
We have more cattle than we have human beings in this state at any given day.
We just don't get it brought
in. They kill us. They'd outnumber us like 10-1. They would easily swarm on us and take over.
Yeah, every school kid in Nebraska just has to go out and milk cows every morning. That's all.
How you go get your morning milk break. You just go take your little pail.
They hand churn their own butter. I mean, we're hoping to get electricity by the end of next year, but we don't know if it's going to happen.
Well, rumor has it they're going to take out the hitching posts and actually put in these things called parking spots. I don't know what that's all about, but
is that for those cars that I heard about?
Those newfangled things that, the iron
automobiles.
I'm going to get me a Tin Lizzie next year.
There you go. It'll be so nice not having to walk to the general store.
I just wish it wasn't uphill both ways.
I know. And God, those sod houses are so hard to assemble.
My grandmother grew up in a sod house, no joke.
Yeah, no, it's my grandpa. Like a lot of people they didn't have electricity in the house until he was almost a teen, and they had an outhouse for the majority of his life until he got out of high school, living on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, south of Lincoln.
My grandma traveled across the country in a covered wagon.
Holy cow!
How old are you?
Dude, she was in Oregon Trail. That video game Oregon Trail, was that the grandma that you have to...
No, because Tony is here, which means that his grandma did not die of dysentery.
Okay.
And everybody that plays Oregon Trail dies of dysentery at some point.
I'm nonstop. All I do is hunt and just drive my way there as quickly as I can get there. I don't care if little Billy gets run over by the wagon as I try to change the wheel.
We're gonna need another Timmy.
Stop.
They're just kids. You can make more.
always pay the Native American guide when you get to the river. Don't try to cross the river on your own because it never works. All right. You will lose your wagon and half your food and a family member. It's a guarantee.
And die from dysentery.
Yeah. So if you've never played it before, Oregon Trail is one of the most epic video games of all time. I'm just going to say it right now. That I remember playing it when I was in grade school on the computer.
Can confirm.
Yeah,
as a millennial, I can confirm this.
All I enjoyed doing was the hunting part. Is that bad? I didn't really pay attention to. I couldn't tell you one stop along the way, even though I think you go through Nebraska at one point. But I don't know. The Oregon Trail avoid Nebraska or not? The Mormon Trail comes through Nebraska.
Didn't they both follow the Platte River?
Yeah, I think you go through Nebraska at some point, but
I'm pretty sure the Oregon Trail followed the Platte River.
So they made a remake of that game called the Oregon Trail. That's like zombies.
Play it on. Yeah, Oregon. I've got that on my Xbox. Oregon Trail. Sandhills, while you're with us, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel and what you got going on? What's in the works, man?
A little bit about my channel. If you're looking for videos that are definitely not high quality, the entertainment value is at best mediocre, go to my channel, check us out. We do have a weekly recurring live chat Tuesday nights at 9 Central called 2A Tuesday. We are taking a 2-week hiatus just because Christmas and New Year's both fall on Tuesday, so we won't be doing live chats the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I'm sure somebody will snatch up that time slot. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no kidding. There is a giveaway.
Like, oh, you're sick. I'm so sorry. Can I have your time slot? That's how it is in gun channels, man. We're
Anybody who wants to is free to only the next 2 Tuesdays is free to fill that spot if they want. Or if Night Strike's going to have hit or miss,
yeah.
Tuesday night's 9 o'clock, then he can go over if he wants to. That's cool. But we are having a giveaway, and so go to the channel and check that out. I've got a couple different videos talking about that. We explained it in the latest 2A Tuesday, which was number 11 in the series. So you can go check those out and go back and look at some of the earlier videos, because some of those went out to not very many subscribers. So some of them actually aren't too bad.
Yeah.
I might go back. I probably would go back at some point and just make a playlist of my favorites and some of the ones that I think are the better ones, so that it helps people weed out the junk. But go check it out, see what you guys think, and you can find me most of the time right here on Caliber Corner as well. And thanks for the invite.
No problem. I'm just kind of giving Base Boy 99091. He just said that roll call said you will hate on me for my CPX too. You know, I don't hate anybody for carrying any kind of firearm or buying any kind of firearm. I'm just saying I had negative experiences with mine. But I am willing to maybe try another one to see if things have improved. And if they have, I would change my opinion on that firearm. But again, you know, a lot of them are coming up for sale right now with the holidays. And I can't, because of the fact that I think a gun should last more than 1,000 rounds. That's just my opinion. But anywho.
Yeah, you should wait till we cut off the air, then he just cuts loose with the hate.
Oh, man. Well, you know, I mean, that's who, me?
Yeah. Once we're off the air, man, it's
I know.
If you guys only knew the real Travis.
Ran to become unstable.
He's a monster.
Yeah, I know.
Absolute monster.
So unstable.
He starts throwing things. He picks that stack up gun safe in the back and just lifts it over his head and throws it through the wall.
Smash.
Yeah.
Puts the bayonet on the Mosin, throws it through the wall.
Angry. You wouldn't like him when he's angry.
Yeah,
I thought it was hungry.
Just so upset that I've like thrown something before. I've never actually got to that. Seems like whenever guys do that, they break their hand, you know. And
no, that's just those idiots that punch a wall when they get mad.
Yeah, I don't like punching. I got plaster walls in this house, man. This is an old house in the 50s. It will win. Okay, it will win. I don't care how buff you think you are. You might make a little dent in it, but then all your ammo money is going to go on a hand surgery. So yeah,
90% of my house is all brick, so it wins no matter what.
Same here.
Eventually, Travis's beard starts to fall out. He's like, "I'm so ticked off that I'm molting."
Oh,
he goes crazy and like shaves half his head.
Well, I think it's too late for that.
Frank says, "Does Travis have an angry bone in his body?" I'll get disappointed, and you know, just like anybody else, I'll get frustrated, say with driving and things like that. But I don't know. I guess I'm not the kind of person to just go off and get really upset about stuff that I scream and holler and yell. I'm supposed at some point I'll probably get mad and do something, but like Frank, anybody else.
I'll tell you what, Frank, in a couple of weeks when Travis and I are out deer hunting, if Travis takes a shot at a deer and misses, I will tell you if he gets upset or not about that. How about that?
You got to record. You got to do like a hidden camera kind of deal.
If I can record Travis's hunt, I will record Travis's hunt.
Yeah, he's gonna cut loose. He's gonna cut loose. Gosh,
he's gonna like throw his rifle.
No, I'll be disappointed. I'm gonna take it back out again. I'm gonna be using a Mossberg Patriot and 6.5 Creedmoor to go after this deer, and I'm taking that out again one more time. I'm gonna put some rounds here to make sure it is as precise as possible.
Do you have anything with a bayonet just in case you need to euthanize anything?
I could take the Mosin. We can bust the Mosin. I've got a nice 1927 Hex that only gets out like once a year to play around at the range, and that's pretty much it. So I could get one for the AR over here. I could get a bayonet for that. That's got the standard mid-link gas. I think I can put a regular bayonet on there.
Tapes a spork to the end of your AR.
No.
Oh, no. Yeah. Tape it to the end of that Patriot.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, where's that at? That's over.
We're already going to have the we're going to duct tape one of the a little laser pointer, like a cat toy. We're gonna duct tape that to the barrel too, so we can.
I get the chainsaw if you want, and duct tape that to the PSA.
That's how we trim limbs away from our tree stand. Is just we tape a chainsaw to the end of our hunting rifle.
I was like, dude, they do make branch saws, you know.
Yeah,
Harbor Freight. That's one thing I haven't reviewed yet. Coming soon to my channel, the Harbor Freight branch saw. There we go.
No, what you got to do is you got to spice it up a little bit. You got to get that what is it? The angle grinder, and tape that to the front of.
There you
that
go.
way you can take down vehicles.
Yeah, you can like cut into it. You got the gun on ready. You know, yeah. Oh my God, we have too much imagination. See, this is what happens when you Legos as a child. It just totally corrupts your mind.
You got to see Midnight's comment out there. Travis misses a huge buck, stomps a foot, and whispers, "Oh, fiddlesticks!" And that's the equivalent of Travis P11 going postal.
Gosh darn it! Gosh darn it!
He'll let out a string of words just like Tom Osborne.
Yep.
Oh, exactly. Shucks.
It's obvious that they've never heard the off-air stuff.
That's true. That's true. Well, Travis is just very, very good at keeping it classy when he's on air. That's all.
You know, what can I say? What can I say?
There's Ron Burgundy and Travis P11, and they both stay classy.
That's right. Keep it classy, San Diego. Oh, man. Okay, so we got to let Jim introduce himself. He's been sitting patiently, just tiling the floor, waiting for us to get to him.
Hey, I got to get it done sometime.
You should be doing it now while it's wintertime. I have those windows open down there. And
oh, yeah. It's been a beautiful couple of days.
Heck yeah, man. So what's new in your world? What you been up to these days, man?
Oh, just getting ready for Christmas. I gotta share a screen real quick because you guys need to let's find my controls.
Is this one of your awesome Instagram posts? You were huge on Instagram and Twitter. This man tweets more than anybody else I know. You tweet more than the Kardashians, man.
The only tweeting I do is via Instagram.
Okay.
But
what do we got here?
No, everybody needs to run out and buy one of these from Forge from Freedom. I'm gonna plug them.
Now I have a bump stock. Ho ho ho. Yep. I'd like to see a little cartoon made up, like one scene cartoons that has Santa Claus with like an ATF shirt on, holding the bump stock over his head, saying, "Now I have a bump stock." Ho ho ho. And the gun owner is the one that's strapped to the chair, sweating bullets. You know.
You should. Can you freeze the screen onto Jim for a little bit?
I think I am right now. I don't know if this is the right way to do it or not, but I'm pretty sure this is it.
I think
I'm on. If you guys click on me,
I think you froze your screen onto you.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to do a screen share, and I hope to God I don't end the podcast early. Okay. All right. Is that better?
Yep. There you go.
That's awesome.
Okay, so now I have a bump stock. And don't forget, G-Webs also has the second gen Poco Ghibli shirts that are up now. If you want to get in on Poco Ghibli. If you don't know what Poco Ghibli is, we'll have to explain it at some point. I don't want to get into it right now, but they are awesome shirts. They do feature myself and Night Strike, if I'm not mistaken, on one of them. We've been converted to anime characters. I thought that maybe getting published was a big leap in my life, but getting myself on a T-shirt, that right there makes me feel like a rock star. So,
oh yeah,
that's it. So,
who would not want to get in on Poco Ghibli?
Poco Ghibli is where it's at. Poco Ghibli that's it. Studio Ghibli, Poco Ghibli. Yep.
It's so Nightwagon. Poco Ghibli is so Nightwagon.
Dude, it's Nightwagon. It's
oh my gosh, I forgot about this.
How can you forget about Nightwagon? That's going to be the epic turn in your life, AWAG. That's going to.
I know. I'm working on it.
You can't forget about Nightwagon. You're the wagon.
So, guys, I want everybody to start putting money back now because AWAG is going to. Him and Night Strike are going to launch their own fire manufacturing company. And AWAG is going to be taking pre-orders pretty soon for AKs. Is that going to be what we're going to work on?
Still ironing out. I want to get at least one of every single type of AK built for me. That way I feel comfortable doing it for other people. So right now I'm working on a Romanian PSL that Childers Receivers just announced on their Instagram page, which I'm incredibly excited for, that they're doing PSL receivers after Christmas. So on Friday, I am going to order 2 of those.
So, AWAG, my only request, I know you're going to be doing these in-house, shop-made AKs, but we got to try to keep the price point fair because right now, AK prices are soaring, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's hard to get into a quality one. And it's almost to a point where I think more people are maybe falling back on ARs because you can buy dang near 2 ARs for the price of a good AK these days, you see some entry level ones for $4.99, but do you really want to RAS 47?
Yeah, and that's going to be the issue. Personally, I think when I get done building these AKs for customers, they're probably going to be like that in between spot between, say, like Arsenal, which they only do Bulgarian AKs, and like Rifle Dynamics, like right in that middle zone.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're probably going to be on par with those prices. I'm not really trying to go with super budget and mass production.
So other than PSA, other than the fact that us Americans can't seem to build an AK the right way without cutting costs and cutting into things, it would be nice to have an American manufactured, European parts kit sourced quality AK, right, with a lifetime guarantee. That's not going to have canned sights. It's not going to have a cast trunnion. That's not going to quit working after 1,500 rounds. You know.
Yep.
That's what we need. That's what we and I mean, yeah, the prices on those are going to keep going up, which you know, Wasp going to run you $650 now.
Can't you just get one from Childers?
Childers makes the receivers.
Yeah,
but they don't make the complete.
No.
Oh, okay.
Hold on, Abe. One sec. I want to let David introduce himself, and then we can just have a little discussion on this before we get into our main topic. So, David Bowling is with us. So, David, what's new in your world, bro? What's going on?
Not too much, man. Thanks for having me. I always appreciate it.
Cool. So, hey, what do we got coming up on your channel? You got any new videos coming up? You got any good stuff?
Well, I've got my Henry lever action stuff coming out. I ended up accidentally deleting it twice. That's why I haven't loaded it up yet. So I've had to
learn to say it right.
Hey, get thumbs up from Tony. That's always a good sign.
And then I'm right around the corner from 100,000 subscribers, so things are going well.
The 100K subscriber. Man, you go out and shoot a pumpkin and your life just changes overnight, doesn't it?
Yep.
You won't be deleting these videos if you say lever correctly.
Yes, watch out because YouTube is on the prowl for inappropriate videos. And
no, it's a lever action.
Lever?
It's like the Garand Garand thing, all right? John Garand created the M1 Garand. You actuate the lever on your lever action rifle.
I thought you were going to say that Marcus Lever invented the lever action. I do know people whose name is Lever.
No, that's the guy who invented that soap or toilet bowl cleaner or whatever that is.
Lever 2000.
Yeah, back in the year 2000. I remember.
Real quick, guys, we do have a super chat. Unknown user says, real hunters take deer with a pair of nail clippers. You know, I could probably do that. Like, jump out of a tree and, hit the jugular and bleed them out.
That's what I should have done.
Hey, Scott P79's chiming in. Since we're talking about American-made AKs, ironically enough, Scott P79 says, anyone see that PSA recalled their 9mm AKs? Which I know Sarge and I were looking at them quite a bit last week on a few of the podcasts, but I guess I have not heard about a recall on them. I don't know what the problem is. Maybe they're having, I don't know, maybe they're not, maybe they're going accidental discharging or something. I don't know. So that's what we heard of. So David, will you have any drawings coming up? You've had some really good drawings lately. You've been working with a few other people on YouTube and on gun channels.
Yeah, I hope to have one before the end of the year. I'm not too sure if it'll happen before the end of the year. So if it doesn't, it'll definitely be at the beginning of January.
You know, here I thought it was hard to win something from Classic Firearms, but your drawings are freaking impossible, man. I got to go tweet and watch a video, and then I got to invite my friends, and then I got to go click on this link and that link just to get 10 entries.
I ended up getting a class action lawsuit against me for people getting, finger damage by typing on their computer.
Yeah, carpal tunnel kicks, all that clicking they have to do. So, yep.
I'm going to have to scale it back a little bit and make them a little bit easier.
Yeah, well, guys, we're just kidding. For those of you that don't know, David's drawings, you basically just leave a comment on the video and you're putting the drawing, right? That's typically what you do.
Yeah, if I could do it any easier, I would.
That's what I do too. I'm just like, I said, just leave a comment and you're good to go. Easy way to do it. And there's nothing wrong with doing something where people go out and, we had Ghost and Clover that had a really cool drawing where they gave away a shotgun and you could get multiple entries from sharing and stuff. And I think the person that won it did put the effort in and got the multiple entries. I think they had like 49 to win it, which was awesome. You can do those and there's nothing wrong with that. Speaking of drawings, I did see that SCAR Dream Bundle did go out to a person in Texas, in San Antonio. So I don't know. Hopefully they get to keep it long enough to enjoy it. If you guys saw the drawing from Classic Farms, they had the SCAR Dream Pack, but they actually had somebody in like one of the Carolinas or Virginia that actually won it for once. So yes. Hey, okay. So real quick, AWAG, let's let you introduce yourself and then we'll get started.
Hi, I'm AWAG. I build AKs. Check out my channel for interesting AK firearm stuff, dank memes, if you will. And keep posted because hopefully I can have a video out on me building a Romanian PSL that I'm sort of modifying because everybody likes the 24-inch barrels on the Romanian PSLs. Personally, I don't because the barrels whip around like a wet noodle in a hurricane. So I'm shortening mine up to 18 inches. So 18 inches on a full power rifle cartridge will throw a huge fireball. So I'm excited.
There you go.
Check out my channel. I am on Instagram and Twitter. So follow me at AWAG1000 if you can.
Where did I see the video of you spinning out at the intersection? Was that you learning how to drive?
Oh, that was my Instagram. That was actually a year ago.
Was that ice? Was that black ice that you ran
It
into?
was black ice.
Are you running summer tires on your Mustang? I can't
understand. No, I'm doing all seasons, and those were like brand new at the time.
And all AWAG did was take a turn and end up doing a 360, and then and then to make it look like nothing was intentional, he just kind of turned around and went back the other way into the because you were already you spun around the oncoming traffic and you were facing the right direction. Well, not oncoming, but it was like I was like, what did he just do? And they just stop at the stop sign like nothing happened.
Yep.
Oh my God, that's scary, man.
I know.
It just looked like rain. It just looked like it was raining out, and you just go take a turn and
Yep.
And it's not like you're not running a GT. It's not like you have 300 horsepower, right?
I know. And the only thing that probably went to my detriment is I have a limited slip differential in the back. So both tires started spinning, and that's when it kicked the back end around.
Which is good on dry pavement when you're straight launching it, but when you go into turns, that can cause some issues with the traction. So oh man. All right. So let's go ahead and get started here. Oh, real quick, I want to announce something. Southpaw RX got a hold of me. David, tell us about your experiences with Southpaw RX because you did a drawing with him recently, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I had my earbuds out.
It's all good, man. Yeah.
He won one of my first drawing. He won a prize in my first drawing.
Okay.
And when we were contacting each other back and forth to get his shipping address, he just said, "Hey, man, I'm going to send you some stuff, and you can do it as a giveaway." And I was like, all right, that's really cool. And then we talked back and forth. And he didn't want any kind of recognition. He just wanted me to say, hey, I've got more stuff for you. So I had to badger him a little bit to be able to give him credit for it. But he's a really cool guy. Go check out his channel. Give him a sub. He doesn't put out a whole lot of content, but he does hang out in the chats from time to time. So go over and give him a sub. He's really cool. He went into his pocket and paid for this stuff. It's not like he had stuff in a drawer somewhere.
And he got a hold of me recently and said that he's been watching the channel for a while and that he likes to just contribute to channels that do Pro 2A content, Pro Firearms content, and he likes to just donate stuff for giveaways to help those channels boast themselves. And I've got a box in the mail. Okay, I got a little something from Amazon from Southpaw RX, and I'll announce it here soon. We're going to do a drawing when I hit 13,000 subscribers, and hopefully that won't be very long. And we're going to have a little giveaway. I'll make an announcement about it. My giveaways, you just usually what I ask for are just topic stuff you'd like us to cover on this show. And you're entered in the drawing. That's what I've done for the last two giveaways. And it gives me a lot of material to draw from because I don't always have time to sit around and think, oh, what are we going to talk about today? I like to hear what people want to learn about, and that's what we cover in the topic. So whether you like that format or not, that's just what we do. But we try to make sure that we, listen to what people want to hear about, So we will have, Southpaw RX, thank you. We will have a drawing here pretty soon. I'll make a video about it, announcing it in the next week or so, and it might maybe coincide with the new year. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so I did have a viewer request, and the person watching our channel said, hey, could you please do a video on milsurp? Are there any good deals left in milsurp firearms? What's going to be the next big thing in milsurp that people are going to buy? And I'm the kind of person that frequently will look up military surplus handguns and rifles on a lot of the common websites, J&G Sales, Classic Firearms, Gun Broker, and stuff like that. And I've seen the trend where a lot of your what used to be not throwaway guns, but a lot of your just inexpensive milsurps have skyrocketed in price in the last 10 years. I think maybe 10 to 15 years ago, what you bought an SKS for, and now they're $500 or close to $500. And we can argue prices. You can get price quotes. Say, well, I got one for $325. Okay, there's always going to be a cheaper price, but in general, like take Mosin Nagants for instance. Okay, I bought my first Mosin just 5 years ago for $125 at Cabela's. Now they're $300. They were $350. On Gunbroker, they're even more expensive because they throw in the little kit with it, and you know, their Mosins are $375 on up. Now that's for a base model. Sniper models are going for anywhere between $500 and $700, even though they were very common when they were manufactured. The M44s are $450, $500. So, are there any good deals left in milsurps? Yes and no. That's what I'm going to say.
First thing I got to ask is, why are you buying the milsurp?
I think somebody might want something that could have potentially been used in a battle, or just to have that provenance, or just to have something in the collection. I mean, I've got a 1943 Mosin that looks like it has been to hell and back. I mean, it was very roughly produced. It was probably made at a time when the Russians were fighting off the invading Nazis. And I mean, that thing might have some significance. That thing might have been used in Stalingrad. I mean, it's just that I think people like that collectible. They like how cool they are. They're relatively inexpensive to shoot sometimes. Just to have it as a historical piece, I think that's why a lot of people buy milsurps. Well, they used to be a good deal. You know, you could get yourself a nice, powerful milsurp rifle that you could hunt with for under $200. Not so much anymore. So, what do you guys think? I'm gonna shut up.
The short answer: there honestly are no quote unquote deals anymore in the milsurp area. It's gotten to the point in this political spectrum that they're banned from import. A lot of things are banned from import. The only things that could maybe qualify as a military surplus firearm are parts kits, and usually they're only from Bulgaria or Poland, referencing AKs. We can't get any types of AR parts from outside of the United States, from my knowledge. I mean, and all these other militaries in the world aren't, they're not really rotating their weapons stock so that we get imports. Say if the United Kingdom were to get a new what is it, the SA-80s or the L-95s or whatever they're called, the bullpups, if they were to rotate them, they can cut them up and ship them over here, and that would be a new military surplus parts kit that we possibly have. I would really like to see that, but it's not going to happen because everybody wants to keep everything in their country. And when it comes to the firearms world, all these countries are so isolated that we're not taking them in, and they're not shipping them out as well. The only real military surplus that I've seen are the Romanian guns that are coming in, like your new production Wassers and your Romanian PSLs, but they've stopped because they had a catastrophic failure on their test ranges, and it basically exploded half of their entire facility. So they're not coming in anymore. The Romanian PSLs, whatever are here, are staying here, and we're not getting any more in. And they're not manufacturing anymore, probably in the next year or so, because of that failure. So a short answer is no, there's no real military surplus anything coming into this country.
And, you know, throw in the popularity of YouTube channels like Love 'Em or Hate 'Em, okay, Rocky Veteran, Nothing Fancy. These guys did some major Mosin videos 5-6 years ago, 3 years, whatever. And that brought a lot of fans into the milsurp market that maybe never considered one before, bragging about, hey, this thing will, you know, you can shoot this far with this powerful round. It's got a military history, and it's $150. Boom, everybody goes out and snags them. You know, we all remember seeing crates of Mosins for sale when you could pay $200 for Mosin or $175 and get 8 of them in a crate or 12 of them in a crate, you know. And then also the prepping community buying a lot of these cheap rifles up to have prepper rifles sitting around for whether they need to outfit a small group or they want to have them around in case something would happen out to members of their family. The numbers are just drying up. And also, if you think about it, we haven't had a major world war, you know, like World War I or World War II, that's left these rifles sitting dormant to be bought 100 years later or 50 years later. So that supply is not coming. Now, granted, we got the CMP Colts that are coming out. At some point, maybe in our lifetime, we'll see what the M14s or M1As be released from Korea, unless they've already been destroyed. I have no idea. The ones that Obama put the block on.
Wait. Why would you think there would be M14s coming from Korea?
Because there's thousands of them sitting in their armories.
Right, but there's not something that we could really afford. They'd be pre-86, but they'd be, I mean, tax stamp and everything else. M14 is select fire. You're going to pay an arm and a leg for that.
Is it M1As that they have over there? I don't know.
M1A is a civilian firearm. The military never used an M1A. Never.
Right.
So, I mean, to tell you the truth, if we do get those M14s, it would drive the price down. Not a lot, but it would still drive the price down because we would have so much more coming into the country.
That's
and
true.
It might bring a few more people into. I mean, we can. If you put the money back and you do the paperwork, you can get the full auto. It's not like it's the forbidden fruit.
Right. It's
it would bring more people in. If more showed up, you got a supply demand that might possibly lower the prices. AY, to kind of counter your argument, there are great deals now that are out there in terms of milsurp pistols that you can still get. If somebody wants to get one of those P64s, or you want to get a Star, well, this isn't exactly milsurp, or maybe Makarovs and things like that. There's still some good deals that are out there if you look around. When I was over just kind of poking around, I just did a Google search on military surplus firearms, and I wanted to show this off real quick. So I think I might have found, you guys can tell me, maybe I'm wrong on this. Maybe you can say that this is way too expensive. And again, I'll try not to end the podcast early. If you just look for military surplus over on Gunbroker, the K31s are, $450 on up. But you start to look around and you start to see this. Look at this. High power starting at $500. Is that a good deal or not?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if you consider what a new unfired one, now that they're not in production anymore, I'm like, oh, this might be something. Yeah, okay, it's a higher price point than what you're used to, but it's also not the $800 you're going to pay for a brand new one.
That's just it. If you look at it that way, if you compare it to what they want for the air quote new ones, then it's a deal. If you look at what we used to pay, no, it's a ripoff.
So you still can, if you just hunt around a little bit, maybe kind of poke around and do some searching. Hey, here we go. Here's the post 86 dealer sample, full auto Uzi.
They're still like what, $5,000?
This one is $23.99.
Huh.
Yeah, there we go. There you go. Hey, Wag, it's up for Christmas.
Oh, that's a post dealer sample. That's why it's cheap.
I know. Your Tokarevs, again, these are really expensive considering you can get a new Tokarev for $200 on Classic. And some of these kind of get listed as milsurp even though they're not. But yeah, if you look around, you can still find some really good deals. The high powers really have me interested. I mean, it's not, the $250 handgun or the $150 rifle. There are some good deals to be had out there if you just look around a little bit. I would say if you want to get in now, the other thing that Tony and I were discussing earlier, we were talking about the former, the LEO trade-in firearms. I remember they had the Beretta carbines that Classic had gotten in stock, and they were selling they were selling like a whole little package deal where you got a case and extra mags and stuff with them, and they were a fair price. I think they were like $450 or something. They were maybe a little bit less than new. But the LEO trade-in handguns, I mean, I think that's another one. That's not exactly milsurp, but it's also getting you a good deal on a good firearm. Again, if you look around on those, if you go to Classic again, and I just use them as an example because they're one of the easiest websites to kind of show off and talk about that's most available to everybody. If you just do a military surplus search and you click on in stock, there's 14 military surplus listed weapons that they have for sale. And again, the Star BM, I know that Never Enough Ammo Matt boasts about how good these are, and I'm interested in one myself. Now, granted, it's not milsurp, but it's Spanish police force, but still $179. Radon P64, this one really has me interested, whether you want 40 or not. $299 for a Gen 4 Glock 22 is really hard to argue with. One mag, and sometimes you get night sights on those. CZ50, CZ82, Polish PPS 43C 762 by 25 pistol, right? Semi-auto, obviously. If you look around, you can hear some P320s, $372 police trade-ins. They were selling 357 SIG. I don't know if they still have them for sale. They might be all out. They had, what was it, 6 hour, was the P226s for $349, chambered in 357 SIG. Okay, got your M&Ps going on over here. M&P 45 for $329. The Tokarevs, 762 by 25, which ammo for that, you might not get it at your local Walmart, but Red Army Standard does manufacture ammo for it. So what do you guys think about that? Would you ever consider, is it time just to maybe abandon the milsurp search and just move on?
I wouldn't say abandon it. If you specifically want, say, like a CZ57 or a like say your Swiss P210s. I mean, they're expensive, but they're still military surplus. Like, if you specifically want a military surplus gun, go for it. I mean, I was oblivious to my first rifle, which was a Mosin M44. like before I got into firearms, I used the regular Mosin on like the Call of Duty games, and I was fascinated by it. I was like, this is an interesting looking bolt action because it has a straight bolt handle that just kind of pops out the side like that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty neat. So when I went to a gun store to actually look around and get the feel for actual firearms, I saw one on the shelf. It was a Mosin M44, and I looked at it and I was like, well, yeah, I'll buy it. And I didn't know what the recoil was like. It was the first time I bought a firearm and the first time I went to go shoot the firearm. I have a video on my channel that is literally the first shot I've ever taken with that rifle.
Nice. Now, so what'd you think about it? Did you think it was kind of punishing and uncomfortable to shoot? Because
no, I thought it was hilarious because it would throw a huge fireball and it'll kick like a mule. I thought it was amusing.
I'd love to get an M44, but again, they're venturing up into the $400 range now too, and I've kicking myself, had opportunities to buy them like a lot of people, and just,
and at the time I did overpay for it. I paid $367 for it.
One thing I was thinking, and I kind of wish Calaveras was with this. Calaveras, maybe you can chime in. SKS, California legal. A lot of states that have restrictions. Many times that milsurp is a viable option. You're going to get a quality firearm. Might need just a little bit of work to get it, tuned exactly how you want it, but you've got a durable firearm that you can buy without a lot of issues that you have to put up with, or you're not going to get like a neutered AR with like the solid handle on it and no flash suppressor. You can get yourself a quality firearm for a good price and be able to arm yourself to defend yourself. And for a lot of people, milsurp might be the only way to go.
And contrary to popular belief, the Chinese SKSs are not necessarily military surplus.
Okay.
That was why I asked that question, because if you're just looking for a cheap gun, you might as well buy a friggin' Mossberg or a Savage.
Yeah. If you want an accurate hunting rifle, I mean, if you want to, I want to go milsurp. Okay, cool. But you're gonna spend $500 on it, not be able to mount any optics. You might be good with your iron sights, but I don't know. It's just it's an interesting thing because part of me still wants to go back and look at those. Another part of me is like, it's time to move on. I would say for the handguns, you're definitely going to be okay for rifles. Squib, what I was talking about, and this has come up on the YouTube chat, the M1 Grands that are in Korea as bringing them over as part of the CMP. That's what I was talking about, was the Grands, not the M14. My M's were mixed up this morning. So,
all right. Yeah, I don't want anybody to sit there and say, oh, he's promoting people getting NFA items, or the government's trying. Look, right after they said they were going to adopt that new SIG service rifle, everybody's going, we're getting M9s cheap soon. It's like, no, you're not. Yeah, no, you're not. So there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I've heard a lot of people on YouTube call the M14 the M1A, and they are not the same rifle at all. I mean, parts are interchangeable and that sort of thing, but there's a lot of people that seem to think that the military used AR-15s and M1As. It's like, no, they used M16s and M14s, and
it's the same rifle.
It's the same rifle, but it's not the same rifle, and that's just it. So I hear a lot of misinformation, and sometimes it's just a slip of the tongue, I'm sure. But then there's other people. It's like, oh no, so next thing you know, you got, well, Travis P11 said that we're getting M14 from Korea, and then it's like it becomes.
I'm an armchair commando, guys. Most of what I know I've learned from watching your videos and Wikipedia. No, I'm just kidding.
And that's sort of what happens. That's what happens in our community.
And real quick,
it's even worse with the AK platform. I hate it when people hold up a stamped receiver AKM and they say, this AK-47. I'm like, stop. The AK-47 was a milled receiver. It had a flat muzzle, and it didn't have the slant brakes. It's only when they switched over to the stamped receiver that it became the AKM, and it had a slant muzzle, had a different gas tube, and it bothers me.
So we have a question popping up over in the, I think it's over in the chat. I hope it's intended for us. I'm going to show this off. The person is saying the pros and cons, since we're talking milsurp and military ideas, pros and cons of the Para Ordnance 1911 Black Ops Recon 9mm handgun. So let me screen share so you guys can see this. Being really careful to not inadvertently stop the podcast. So
it's a 9mm 1911.
Yeah, so it's a Para Ordnance Black Ops 18-round magazine. This one that's for sale on Arms List you got a rail on it. You've got your 1911 kind of, manual of arms. You got a nice skeletonized trigger and hammer. Pros and cons to it. Man, with 18 rounds, I take it it's double stack, right?
Para Ordnance made a good product, but why would you get a 1911 and 9mm? Just saying.
Got to get that 38 Super, my guy.
Maybe somebody's just been weaned on 1911s and they like just how it shoots. They like the manual of arms, the assembly, disassembly, the cleaning of it. Might have multiple holsters. That's a good question. I mean, you got an 18 round capacity in a 1911 style firearm. I mean, I don't know. I guess what are the limitations, Squib? I would ask, other than $1,000. What would be?
If you got little girl hands, you're going to start complaining about how wide the grips are. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love double stacks, but small guns don't feel right in my hand. There's other people that they seem to be able to shoot either or, but that would probably be the only thing. If you've got little hands and you're used to shooting little guns, you're not going to like this. If you don't mind the weight and you don't mind the width, hey, go for it, I guess. 9mm is going to cycle, and of course, we all hear about how they use 9mm for firing blanks in the movies, even if they're trying to mimic a 45 or in lieu of a 45. But it's just, I don't know. I mean, you can get a 1911 and 10mm too, or they've got other ones, right? The Kunin is a 357, and there's other you can get a 22 long rifle for planking or whatnot. If it's just for the capacity, the Taurus PT92's got a 17 round mag, but Para Ordnance they're out of business now, but Para Ordnance made a good product.
Are they? Oh, they didn't get bought out by anybody that's continuing production or moving facilities or anything like that?
Remington bought them, and as far as I know, they're gone now. But Remington is making the same stuff under their brand.
Oh, okay. Like they're making an R1 version of a Para Ordnance 1911.
Yes, and I want it.
Didn't Remington file for bankruptcy?
No, it was the outdoor group that owned several firearms manufacturers that also includes Remington. It was like Remington Outdoors, which included Marlin, I think, whatever the labels are that they have consumed to in order to go bankrupt and then sell the debt off to somebody or whatever. Yeah, the holding company, I believe, filed for bankruptcy.
Freedom Group, wasn't it?
I know this is. I don't think does Freedom Group even exist anymore? I thought it was a different. It's like Remington Limited Outdoors or something that owns like 6 different.
They may have rebranded. Companies do that from time to time so that people don't associate a company that failed with the exact same company, or when they restructure, blah 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 blah.
Well, what I've heard is that what these companies will do is go snag up a bunch of other struggling companies and then file for bankruptcy, and then they're able to start over with a profit instead of losing money every year. They can sell off their debt or whatnot. Cerebus Capital Management bought Remington for $118 million in 2007, assuming $252 million in debt in the process. I mean, why else would they do that, right? Now that includes Bush. There's a bunch of other companies are included with it too. Yeah.
Cerberus bought Chrysler there for a while before the Germans did and before the Italians did, and Cerberus ran Chrysler into the ground. So yeah, they're an investment group. They're not gearheads. They're not gun guys. They're just an investment group. It's take as much money as you can get and run kind of thing. I know that I've heard some people say before that Para Ordnance is crap. They were probably getting the later ones that were made under the Freedom Group, conglomerate there, and the quality was down. It's the same thing about people going, Kimbers are crap. And it's like, are you kidding? Those things used to be Cadillacs, So it's the people who are jumping into the gun market recently who weren't buying these things before, didn't see them before they got taken over by a bigger entity and the quality went downhill or what, that might have that opinion, but I can tell you that my experience with Para Ordnance has been really good. It's a shame. It's a shame that they sold out, and it's a shame that it just kind of went downhill from there. But I'm glad that Remington is replicating the old P14 45 Limited. So I'd like to get my hands on one.
It says as of May 17th of 2018, just so people know, Cerebus no longer owns Remington. It says that under the reorganization plan, J.P. Morgan Chase Company and Franklin Advisors took ownership stakes in the company in exchange for forgiving more than $775 million in debt. They also got $193 million lended to them by Bank of America. So I don't know if it's a good thing to have these huge financial institutions owning these companies, but I guess it's the lesser of two evils versus shutting them down and having all these people lose their jobs. But it is funny how they acquire all these companies that have tons of debt. I don't know if they think they're going to turn them around or if they're doing it as a plan. Jim, what do you think?
No idea. That gets into all the business machinations and, you know, just like what you were saying, you know, buy up a bunch of properties and then file for bankruptcy and give them a fresh start. It's that's too much of a spaghetti bowl for me.
Yeah, I don't think they get them because they're interested in the product. I don't think any of these companies that do these sort of investments or they're buying up property or anything, it's only because they think they can make it profitable at a later point, or somehow, you know, the losses. Maybe they need so many losses to write off on their taxes. But I don't know. I know that, you know, people were saying about all these credit card companies or processing companies not wanting to deal with firearms and you know, not letting you use your credit card to buy things, or not working to process credit card transactions at FFLs. I've never heard anything anti-gun from Chase. So I think all they really care about is the money.
Yeah, in the end, they don't really care. I do want to make an apology. Somebody told me that I didn't mention it over on gunchannels.com. Dano said, why didn't you announce it? It's on the schedule listing when you go to Gun Channels that we're having a show right now. And the episode should be over there right now, but I'm going to put a listing over on Gun Channels that we are live in the lineup so you guys can see as an announcement that we're out there. My bad. I didn't think about it this morning. I was just a little tired when I woke up, so I apologize for that. Yeah, a question for you, Squib, from the chat on the YouTube side. Was the Calaveras 32 Special. Wanted to know your opinion on the Rock Island 1911 GI model. And I can comment on this too because I also had one. But go ahead, Squib. What do you think? Any opinion on the Rock Island 1911?
I mean, if it's supposed to be a mil spec, I think as far as that goes, it's affordable. That's if I was going to get a 1911 that you know, a GI 1911 because I was a reenactor or something like that, I'd probably get one from maybe Auto Ordnance or from who's the one that's making the M1 carbines? Is that
Inland?
Inland. Yeah, Inland.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the Rock Island one is just, it's the same thing. It's just more affordable.
And then there's ATI, which I think we've discussed. They are separate facilities. They're both in the Philippines, where the ATI and the Rock Island 1911s are manufactured. They're geographically, but I don't believe that they are the same company, or they may have the same parent company, but they're not rolling off the same lines. The ATIs are not rolling off the same line as the Rock Island Armory 1911s. Now, I had a GI model that I should have probably held on to. I bought it, decided I didn't really want to get into 45, and I sold it about 6 months after I bought it. The fit and finish on the Rock Island 1911 was fantastic. It was, I think I might still have a couple pictures of it over on Gun Channels, but I sold that before I started making gun videos. I think I paid like a little over $400 for it. What I didn't like about it, out of the box, the grips, they look nice, but there's no traction. There's no texture on those grips whatsoever. So plan on swapping out the grips when you buy it. I'd almost say go for a little bit higher end Rock Island model, maybe spend $50 or $100 more and go with something that's got more of the features already on it, you know, with the skeletonized trigger and hammer, possibly an integrated rail, better grips to start, a flared magwell. If you spend a little bit more money than just, but if for somebody who wants to get into a 1911, the Rock Island Armory 1911s are perfectly fine. Your basic iron sights, you know, it's a big heavy gun. It's a nice gun, I think, and you got magazine compatibility. That's not going to be an issue. I liked it. I kind of regret selling it, but I just didn't like what I thought I'd have to do to it to get it to the way that I wanted it, shoot it comfortably. And in that case, next time I go around and do this, I'll just buy a nicer one instead. All right. Any other thoughts on milsurps? Are you guys looking at any milsurps right now, or considering anything at all?
Does the military ever do? You know how the police will have auctions and get rid of cars and couches and stuff that they seize. Did the military ever have auctions to get rid of old inventory when new stuff is coming in?
Not for firearms. They'll sell old, pretty much everything you can think of. I mean, everything from aircraft parts all the way down to office stuff. If they've got things that have been in a warehouse too long, they're no longer using it, whatever. Actually, if you go to your local military installation, look for it's DRMO, Defense Reutilization Management Office, and they'll have all the things from the local base that they're auctioning off. But when you're talking about stuff like firearms or...
They usually destroy them.
No, they don't usually destroy them. They sit in a warehouse for eternity. The firearms that they've got and things like trucks and stuff like that, you're going to have to go to the auction houses that have got them and buy them in bulk and resell them on the market, almost like distributors. But a lot of stuff sits in warehouses forever. I mean, decades and decades and decades. People think that all this stuff stays in the armory, and that's not true. They'll crate them up and just store them. There's so much stuff in warehouses all over the place, and it's not it's just not something that gets dug into very often.
I know where you can get I can say military surplus. What is it? Colt M16 parts kits minus the receiver. And I think they're the A2s, the big triangular handguards.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there'd be some good.
What a country has them for like $700.
If it's triangular, then it's A1.
Okay. Hey, real quick announcement from the YouTube side over here. Just Dano said that he's going to be opening up a lobby over on Gun Channels after this show, so you guys feel free to join in over there when we're done talking. I got to admit, it's always tempting to look at those milsurp, and I'd love to get a Star BM or maybe a P64 and swap out the springs and stuff, or maybe go get that Makarov that Foos stole from me. But my I guess for 2019 for me, I'm going to be focusing more on reloading. I want to get into reloading. I'm finally going to break down and get a press soon, promise, within hopefully the next month. And I'm going to work on getting some quality glass for my testing rifles because I usually test budget scopes and they're fine, but I'm ready to upgrade now. Something with a lot more clarity, a lot more brightness. So I've been talking to AWAG about SWFA, so that's kind of where I'm going. You guys, I'm going to get away from, I'm okay on ammo. I'm happy with the guns that I have right now, but I'm going to focus more on that. And then also the next topic we're going to go into prepping. I want to talk about that because I think we've kind of maybe let that idea go post-election with our thoughts about country stability and rights and this and that, but we'll come back to that in a second. Guys, what's going to be your focus for 2019? Just feel free to chime in. Are you going to stock up on ammo or maybe get into reloading or parts kits or magazines or receivers? What do you guys think?
Personally, after I build this PSL, I'm going to start getting powders, primers, bullet heads, more casings, and I'm going to start manufacturing my own personal stock. That way, since now that I have my own range membership, I can go out and I can test hand loads, I can test everything that I need to do. So to me it's much cheaper to manufacture my own ammunition than it is to go out and, I mean, it's definitely easier to just go out and buy 1,000 rounds, but when it comes to 7.62 by 54R, all the inexpensive stuff is still the surplus stuff, and that's corrosive, and I don't want to run that through my Romanian PSL.
Or Wolf, I mean, you've got some options, but you're not going to be able to reuse it. Brass, you got to go privy, or you got to go buy new brass if you want to be able to reload it, because so much it's just a case.
Yep, and every time I go to a gun show, there's always a guy there that has 7.62 by 54R brass that's been once fired or in rare cases never been fired. So every time I go to a gun show, I'll buy his entire stock because he doesn't have that much. So I just have like huge boxes filled with 7.62 by 54R brass.
Yeah. Real quick on the YouTube side, Scott chimed in. He says that the CZ P10s are under $400. Yeah, I think Classic was advertising the full size P10s for $399, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't know, is that the 19 or 20 round capacity 9mm? Now I want to go back on something I was saying. I'm not going to focus on buying guns and ammo in 2019. When I buy ammo, I'm going to be buying it from Foos. You guys know Foos from the chats. He is starting up his own ammunition company, and once it's all ready to go, we'll be able to order really good deals on 9mm if you guys shoot a lot of 9. So that's who I plan on buying my ammo from. Specifically, is going to be him, instead of making 5 trips out to Walmart every week or picking up stuff I don't need on top of the ammo. So I will be buying ammo for what I shoot at the range and stuff, but I'm not going to go buy in bulk like I did this year. I'm pretty happy with where I'm sitting right now. But yeah, the reloading for me is going to be it. David, what about you, man? Are you just gonna keep focusing on more firearms or more ammo? What's going to be your focus for 2019?
I'm gonna try to spread it out a little bit. By the end of 2019, I want to be at least ready to start reloading.
Okay.
If not, have a round or two reloaded.
Sure.
I definitely need to stock up on more ammo. That's probably been my biggest flaw is I'll buy a bunch of ammo, then I'll take it all to the range and shoot it all. Then I'll come home and I won't have anything.
It's a crappy problem to have, dude. Now, can you mail order ammo in Maryland or not?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, so you gotta jump through a billion hoops just to get a handgun, but you can just order ammo and have it dropped off.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, I'm surprised they haven't come after you guys for that now to try to limit you,
Well, I got a Walmart at 10 minutes walking distance, so Walmart prices are really good. So I'll stick with that for a little while, but I definitely need to actually have a supply of ammunition.
Just bite the bullet, buy a case of 1,000 rounds, and just sit on it, and then keep getting your boxes and stocking up. Or I could follow Matt's policy. Just pick up a box of ammo every time you go to Walmart, and throw it in the cart. And then before you know it, you start to build up your stocks of it. But yeah, I mean the bulk orders are nice because you can save money depending if you got to pay for shipping and sales tax. Sometimes it's a break-even deal with just buying it at Walmart, right, or buying it from your local gun store. But it is nice to have a prepackaged box ready to go, done. Just take the case, shove it up on your shelf, and forget about it. Which is always kind of nice to have on standby. So ammo is going to be the big thing. David, are you going to do reloading on 9mm or 5.56? What do you think you want to do?
I'll probably start with like some of the 5.56 and the 308, and then I got a 45 long Colt now, so eventually that'll fall into the mix. I'll probably do like you do, and once Foose gets off the ground, I'll just buy my 9mm from him just to help support him.
Well, you're going to get a higher grade.
Long on it.
What's that? Yes, Tony.
There ain't no damn long on it.
Look, David didn't know. It's his first time with us talking about this. And it's just 45 Colt, man. I just want to save you the grief right now. So 45 Colt.
Even Yankee calls it 45 long Colt sometimes.
Long Colt.
Here we go.
Look at it. It says on the back 45 Colt.
I'm thinking about getting me one of them Henry lever actions and 45 long Colt.
Tony, I think it's so that the noobs don't confuse, 45 ACP with 45 long Colt. They put the long in there, so you're like, oh, this isn't 45 for my gun. Maybe it's more of a marketing thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
isn't
don't give it away.
The brass is stamped 45 LC, isn't it?
No, 45 Colt.
Uh-oh. Tony, David's cranking it up a notch on you there. David, can you hold that over just a little bit? There you go. Some Fiocchi. 45 long. And that's even imported ammo, too. So they call it long Colt on the...
Yeah, I mean, what if he ended up getting 45 Gap instead?
Or 4570 government. No,
I don't know.
I'm telling you, the cartridges I got here say 45 Colt.
Okay. Well, yeah, but
So
Tony,
Tony's
1870s, when from when you were youngin', right?
Tony's just a little short, that's all.
Oh.
It's because that short Colt.
All right, we're getting on.
The only damn thing that annoys the shit out of me is that long Colt and lever.
Yes. All right,
call it a clip if you want to. That don't bother me a damn bit.
Just to be completely forthright, the reason I keep calling it a lever action is just to get under your skin, Tony. I'm sorry, brother.
Me too. What are we, Canadian? No, we don't talk like that here.
Got extendos for my GAT, and it's a lever action. 45 long Colt.
What's that a la boot?
For your Glock 9.
If we were Canadian, we would all have to tell Tony we're sorry.
Sorry, boot that too.
Sorry, boot that.
I guarantee there's going to be one in the chat we're going to fire up right now. I'm sorry, Canada. But the truth is, Canada, once we run out of lumber, we're coming north for you, so be ready. All right. Jim, what's going to be your priority for 2019?
What's going to be my priority for 2019? Maybe some training.
Well, yeah, you've done a little bit right now. It seems like you've got some decent
done a little bit
for the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's coming back in the spring, and I think he's going to put a 2-day class on that mixes up handguns and carbines, and I think I want to do that. What else? I'm never going to stop buying ammo, much to the wife's chagrin.
Yeah, just that box just kind of makes it way next to the bread and the Pop-Tarts when you, boop, yeah.
Yep. What else?
Go ahead.
The priorities. A pistol caliber carbine, pistol caliber carbine of some sort, and perhaps if I make it out to, making it out to Tulsa this spring, I'd like to do that.
Definitely.
And real quick, go ahead.
Martin Corp, $5 super chat, dude. You gotta. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That will go in the ammo fund. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. That's gonna buy me some more 6.5 Creedmoor. Okay. Jim, back to you. All right.
And maybe turning one AK into another, just because I want to.
Would you consider picking yourself up an AK pistol, maybe?
I've thought about it. If I did, I'd want to put a brace on it.
Okay.
Should get one of those Draco pistols. They throw a fireball I have never seen before. It is so comical. I went to a range in Pennsylvania, and there was a guy that actually SBR'd one. He paid his tax stamp and everything, and that thing was just so hilariously fun because of the sheer size of the muzzle flash is just ridiculous.
I mean, isn't it annoying when you're on the other end, when you're actually shooting it? I mean, to me, that was the thing I noticed about my AR pistol, was that it's almost like a little camera flash going off every time you pull the trigger, and I find it kind of distracting. I mean, I love shooting it.
I think depending on the muzzle brake you stick on, any AK, but especially those pistols, the gas to flushed out to your neighbors is pretty brutal. Not even the fireball. And
that's what I plan on doing with the PSL. The Mosin M44s, they throw a fireball I have never seen before. Like, it makes the Draco pistol look tiny.
You need to do something. You should do some shooting.
The Mosin M44 has a 21-inch barrel. My Romanian PSL is going to have an 18-inch barrel. Put that in perspective. And it's going to have a compensator on it that only directs it to the left and to the right. So I'm going to be the most obnoxious person on the range.
You might want to give people a heads up. What I'm about to shoot here, you're not going to like. So.
Yeah, and it's semi-automatic, so shoot it as fast as you can pull the trigger.
AWAG, I need to get you up here in October so you can drive off that guy with the 300 Win Mag.
Boom, flash, boom, flash.
Oh, no, the concussion. My nose still hurts 2 months later.
I always get stuck in between the two guys with the muzzle loaders, and they'll fire, and then my box is full of smoke, and I can't see anything.
Yeah, I do kind of drive people away with the walker.
Real quick, guys, on the gun channel side, Patrick says, in 2019, I'm going to finish my AR pistol in 5.56 with an 11.5-inch barrel. Get some more scopes. Patrick also, all my brass reloaded in 308, 223, and 5.56. Jim, I gave the wife a list for Christmas, and I think she just went down and got it all. There you go. All right, Jim. Does she have a sister? Oh, man.
It's funny when you go to reload. People say, "Oh, I'm reloading for 5.56." You're really not. All of the dies and things are set for 223 Remington. They will say 5.56 NATO on it, but it's the dimensions of it are 223 Remington.
Because if you're loading for 5.56, you've got a different pressure in that casing versus 223. I mean, you want to distinguish the two, because if you've got a gun that's not for 5.56.
It's more of a CYA kind of deal with these die manufacturers, because they don't want somebody reloading for 5.56 and then have them blow up their 223 Remington rifle.
The 5.56 223 dies it's the same die. The reload data is different in the book. Yeah, and the 5.56 case is beefier. Yeah.
My books don't even list 5.56 at all.
Get a Hornady book.
If you wanted to do a 5.56 charge, where do you go, Tony?
To 223.
Okay, but
ultimately it's the same round.
Yeah, we're not arguing that at all. I'm just saying that you'd want to make sure that you wanted that mil spec 5.56 NATO round. You'd need reloading information for the powder charge versus 223 Remington.
I don't care. I don't have to worry about action cycling on a single shot. So
Oh, and I'm talking pressures, maybe shooting it, and say you got a bolt action that's chambered in, a varmint gun chambered in 223 Remington. That's not designed for the pressures of 5.56.
Right. You would not want to put the 5.56 round in that Remington 700.
That's all I'm talking about. Yeah.
I mean, I have a the Howl Mini Action. I took that out last night to go to the range, and I was smacking golf balls at 300 yards, and what I had done was I had gotten a box from a friend of the M1, not the M1, the M855A1, the new like solid copper kind of dual jacket kind of deal going on, and I had pulled the bullet heads off of it because I wanted to test some things. And I made it into 223 Remington, so it's essentially a enhanced penetrator 223, and those things are pretty darn accurate. The since everything is pretty much uniform with the A1 compared to the steel core jacket of the just the standard M855. I'm impressed with those bullets, but at the same time, I was doing a relatively low pressure load compared to the standard M855A1 specifications. If you were to look at the new A1 specifications, it's like pushing like the absolute maximum limits of chamber pressure for a AR system.
Oh,
so it's. I definitely wanted to reduce the load a little bit since, number one, my Howl Mini Action is 223 Remington, not 5.56. And also, I don't want to be pushing almost 52,000 PSI. So,
yeah, we want you here next week, AWAG. That's
yeah,
that's the most important thing. And we want you to have both hands too, if at all possible, so you can operate your keyboard.
Yep.
Just Dano had a question out there in the chat for the panel. If you wanted to go through that real quick.
Yeah, one sec. We do have $2 that Kendrick 98 donated to the channel. Here's the 2 more for ammo. That's a good charity. Man, I appreciate it. Again, I spend a lot of money on guns and ammo on this channel, and so that's where my allowance goes. But what was the channel? Yeah, Dano, you guys can ask us questions anytime. We're trying to balance between watching the chat, watching gun channels, and watching YouTube. So we do miss stuff from time to time. What is it? What was the question?
Yeah, he said to the panel, he said, do you think you can buy accuracy? I saw a video on a recoil spring assembly in a handgun that claimed to make the Glock 26 more accurate. And I'm assuming that might be Sarge's video that Sarge just put out.
If they can back up, a lot of the accuracy that you're seeing on your boxes, it's shot under ideal conditions. A lot of these rifles with a 24-inch barrel in an indoor range at 100 yards, they guarantee the sub MOA. The gun is as accurate as the shooter. I think a lot of us can argue that guns are way more accurate than we are. I would say yes. I would say yes, you can buy accuracy to a point. There's things that guns might have that make it more accurate, say a lighter trigger or like a trigger. Yeah, go ahead.
Most of the guns on the market today are precise. When it comes to accuracy, that is specifically relying on the shooter. There's a difference between precision and accuracy. You can have a very precise hole. These guns, if you put them in a lead sled and you use a hydraulic thingy to pull the trigger smoothly every single time so that there's zero human interference, you can get pretty much the same hole accuracy with all these rifles. When it comes to accuracy, people ultimately think that, accuracy is I could put every single round in the same hole by myself, same trigger pull every time. It's completely different. There's a difference between precision and accuracy. Accuracy relies specifically on the shooter.
And this is a big reason for reloading too, because each barrel, I don't care how precise their manufacturing is, they'll resonate slightly differently. And you can custom tailor loads for your barrel.
Yeah. Just, the short of it is you can find ammunition that your gun likes better than other types of ammunition. That's, yeah. Oh, yeah, I agree too. I agree 100%. I mean, case in point, okay, the Mossman Patriot, I was testing with just Remington Warlock, and they both shoot 1-inch groups at 100 yards, whether I'm using Hornady Superformance, Hornady Match, or the Warlock, but then you go out to 200 yards, and the Superformance is a slightly hotter round, and I had less drop with a super performance at 200 yards than I did with the core locked. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's so no, but AWAG, I do agree with you completely. I think that you can buy things that will allow you to be more accurate, but you also still need to train with that firearm. You need to know that round. You need to shoot under different conditions to be adapted to shooting that firearm. But I think that, yeah, like you said, you can buy guns that even your basic rifle can shoot a 1-inch group at 100 yards if you have it in a lead sled.
And here's the thing also is when you go to zero your firearm, zero it in the conditions that you expect to use it in the field. If you have a target rifle that's like 20 pounds and it just sits on a bench, then shoot it from the bench. If you have a hunting rifle, don't put it in a lead sled on a bench and expect you to have the same degree of accuracy. I mean, sure, you're going to be pretty much in the ballpark of where that round is hitting, but as soon as you shoulder that rifle and you're either in a prone, kneeling, sitting, or standing position, it's going to give you a different dynamic. It's going to see everything in rifles, humans, and basically in life, everything has a frequency, and in different frequencies will result in different results. So if you have a lead sled that anchors this thing down every time you take that shot, it will create a different frequency than say if you were standing and trying to pick off a deer at 100 yards. And at 100 yards in the lead sled will give you pinpoint zero accuracy. But as soon as you go to do that standing, that round at 100 yards can probably be like half an inch to up to 2 inches off, depending on the firearm.
Yeah.
As far as buying accuracy, probably the best spent money is making the gun comfortable to shoot. If the trigger's too much, you need to address that. If the recoil is making you afraid to shoot it, then get a recoil pad or whatever. But today's guns are accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So to go back to Dano's question, you're talking about the replacement. It's probably a steel guide rod spring combo for that Glock. I think I saw a video floating around YouTube on it. I have a lot of experience with swapping out polymer guide rods for steel guide rods. I've done accuracy tests, one versus the other myself at the range. I took my PT 111 G2, did a test with it, 4 different distances, and also did 4 different distances again. If anything, I would say it's going to better ensure maybe the reliability of the firearm, because my SD9VE had serious trouble feeding. It had trouble going into battery, but when I put that stout stainless steel guide rod spring combo on, even though it was the same pound weight as the factory guide rod polymer combination, it definitely had much more authority, whether it was cycling or chambering around and so on. I think it's going to maybe help reliability a little bit. I don't know if it's really going to make it more accurate. I guess maybe getting back on target sooner, but I don't know. I'm not sure if an aftermarket spring guide rod is going to enhance accuracy.
Okay. Well, personally, excuse me for saying this, but I honestly think that's bullshit. With the whole making it more accurate. If anything, like I said earlier, everything has a frequency. If you make something that's more dense, it will give off a different frequency. And if those mechanical objects make different frequencies than, say, with the plastic guide rod, and you have that, and you've practiced it really well with that plastic guide rod and haven't had any issues, and you go to replace that, it could throw a different frequency and actually make the gun less accurate. It's much like a guitar string. I'm saying this in precision rifle standards because the barrel acts like a guitar string. When you pluck that cord, it will vibrate. But if you put your hand somewhere on, even somewhere above the cable itself, it will sometimes hit your hand, and then sometimes it won't. Sometimes it'll hit or if you hold it down, it will give a completely different frequency than if you just let it do its thing.
Another thing too is when you're firing the handgun, it's locked into battery, so that spring and guide rod shouldn't have diddly to do with that.
And hopefully that answers Dano's question. He goes, but does it help accuracy? Does it when that gun fires, is that more stout or rigidity going to make it more accurate when it goes up? No, if the bullet's already gone before the spring has any chance to even interact with the firearm, then no, it isn't going to make any difference. You might less muzzle flip, less climb, maybe faster. You might notice more stout recoil, or maybe a reduction in recoil. Those things will help you back getting your shot back on target, but maybe
that's not a measure of accuracy.
No, it's not.
Yeah, AWAG explained it well, the difference between precision and accuracy, and it's kind of like the whole practice versus training thing, right? IV8888 did a video, can you buy accuracy? And in the video, he showed you can buy accuracy up to a certain point. Here's the thing. If you want to get the best ammunition, if you want to get the best built rifle, if you want to get the best scope, if you want to pay the best trainer, you can buy stuff up to a certain point. If you don't want to do it on your own, because you can have a guy out there with a clunky old Mosin with milsurp ammo who knows what he or she is doing and go out there and blow you away with your $6,000 rifle, your $6,000 scope, and your certificate from James Yeager, okay? It's really more about what you're willing to do. People who just go down to the range and do mag dumps, high five, and go home, they're not going to have accuracy, precision, anything. But for them, that's their weekend. That's what they're, some of the people that go hunting are some of the best shots only because they're only going to get one shot. They really don't have much of a choice. Some guys in the military barely qualify, but they qualify. They're combat accurate. And everybody's got a different degree and to what they call accurate. I see people who shoot and hit a man-sized target at 8 feet, and they go, "Look at me, I'm a marksman." I'm going, "You're kidding, right?" But for them, that's their thing. And I think that you can accessorize your firearm to a point where it's more comfortable for you. The weight is right, okay? It reduces the recoil. You can pull the sling in tight if you use a sling, or the scope's got the maybe you like one scope more than another, or you put a cheek rest on there, or with your handgun, whether it's too big for your hands, too small for your hand. I mean, there's just so many different factors for each different shooter as far as what you can do to your gun to make it more comfortable for you, something that you like, you enjoy. The certain sights, I look through them, I cannot. I'm not good, but then I change out the sights, and what do you know? I'm hitting the target. So, to the point of buying accuracy, some people have this belief that if they just spend a whole lot of money, it's kind of like sending your money away to a Pro 2A organization and then sitting on your butt when there's a rally or anything else and go, "I sent them my money, I did my part." Well, yeah, you did do your part, but if you're going to just pay them to do the work for you and they don't do the work, don't be disappointed. Or
you didn't do your part.
Right. You did. Well, I mean, yeah, but in your mind, so the same thing. I went out and I bought my expensive this and expensive that, and I put this on it and that on it and this on it, and then I've got a bipod and I'm this and I'm that, and I've got this expensive this, and I'm part of this club, and blah blah blah, and then you can't hit the broadside of the barn and go, "I don't know what I did wrong." So it's really up to you. It's really up to you at the end of the day.
And if your gun fits you and you're comfortable with it, then your best spent money for accuracy is somebody teaching you what you need to do.
Get a range membership, go out there with somebody that knows how to shoot, or do a training, or just go out there and be patient, learn how the firearm fires, know how the ammo works for you. Practice, man. I mean, that's all it really comes down to. That's the best accuracy you can buy is range, time, targets, and ammo.
Right.
Here's the thing:
$5,000 on gear for your upgrades for your rifle or handgun before you, like Dead Horse said, hit your limits on what you got.
And here's the thing: is with people, when I see something that says, "Oh, guaranteed this at this," if it's a straight up guarantee, then take it at face value. Take it for what it says. Like with, I don't know if it's Ballistic Advantage or one of those barrel manufacturers, but they guarantee 1 minute of accuracy. So I put a Ballistic Advantage pencil barrel on my home defense rifle. I'm a big proponent of pencil barrels now, and I had to learn that the hard way because I built this A2 AR with a rifle length setup with this big heavy bull barrel. The whole thing weighed like 10 pounds empty. And then I put another like 2 pound scope on it. So this thing was just like a bench queen. And when I took it to the range, it was getting like half-inch holes at 100 yards, which is great for an AR. But as soon as I started like wanting to go out to the woods or go out to other places where my friends are like, hey, let's go. My buddy has a plot of land that I go to, and we walk around. He has steel targets set up, and I took my heavy barrel AR, and that thing was horrific. When I went to go take it out there, I was like, I can't do this. So when I started reading up on more barrel harmonics, and you can be accurate but not precise, you can be precise and not accurate, and you can be both. I started looking more into the pencil barrels, and I bought one of the ballistic advantage ones, and it brought down the 12-pound weight to 7 pounds, and with very little over 7 pounds. And I took it to the range, and sure, the barrel heats up, but now with this new technology that they have going on, cryo stress relieving and everything, is I'm still getting those really small groups. Now, the groups have opened up a little bit. I can probably get a little under an inch at 100 yards. And I put iron sights on this because I have a full-length rail that practically comes to the muzzle. And I put fixed iron sights on it. I don't plan on putting an optic on this rifle. And the front sight, I replaced the big thick post with a K&S Precision. I think it's like a .03 diameter post that definitely brought my group sizes down to that 3/4 inch, half-inch size. So definitely learn your equipment and improve upon it, but don't go to the point where I'm just going to get all the parts that I need that are so over the top, and then I'm going to constantly upgrade it. And then by the time you get to your final rifle, you've burned through a bunch of ammo, and you still haven't learned your weapon yet.
Don't interrupt you, AWAG. Real quick, Gizzard Gary's been with us for a while. Gary, you want to say a few words, buddy? We're having a pretty heavy discussion on whether or not you can buy accuracy. But Gizzard Gary, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for inviting me in. Interesting discussion we're having so far.
Oh, yeah.
And I think I agree with everything that's being said. Of course, as far as, recoil springs and stuff like that, buying accuracy, I mean, that's kind of relative. I mean, as far as follow-up shots go, yes. But somebody else who's, not who can handle the recoil a little bit better could pick up that same gun and be perfectly accurate with it. So
it's true.
A lot of it is, perceived, how it affects one particular shooter. It doesn't necessarily make the gun more accurate.
Yeah.
I wanted to say just real quick, I've been asked to mention a Warsaw Patriot would like everybody to watch his latest video on the NRA, I Am Done With You. I'm going to go ahead and throw out a link out there in the chat for everybody to take a look at.
It is always interesting to see different takes on why people are leaving the NRA. What is it that they've done? What is it that they have not done? I think we all have our feelings, whether you love it or hate it. I mean, it is interesting because for some people feel like they've been let down in this area or that area. And yeah, I've got my own feelings about it too. So
check out
Patriot's channel. Yeah.
I mean, the only reason I'm an NRA member now is because it's free.
Yeah, because you got it with your Taurus.
Right.
Yeah. For a lot of people, unfortunately, they have to be a member in order to join a range. That's a stipulation of many private ranges.
Yeah, that's what happened with me is my range. They wouldn't even let me, reapply if I wasn't a part of the NRA. And I was an NRA member before all this crazy crap went down. It was like 2014.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you have to be a current NRA member to get to reapply. I was like, oh my God, they're going to twist my arm to do this. Because most people are like, why would you join the NRA just to go to a range? And I'm like, because I'm in New Jersey, and the only range near me that's actually good, that I feel safe going to, makes you be an NRA member. So I'd rather take the crap of being an NRA member, even though I completely do not agree with anything that they're doing, and just go to a good range that I can actually go out and shoot and practice. And it's, most people don't know the situation that I'm in or anybody else that's in. And, take a walk in their shoes. Look what ranges are around there. I went to a range that was a public range. It was littered with trash. The people were mag dumping everywhere, and there were so many unsafe situations. I went once, and I was like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable being here.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I stuck with my private range too.
And I wonder if a lot of that isn't because the range, a lot of, well, the one I go to is has a 5-star rating from the National Shooting Sports Foundation, which is an arm of the NRA. And it may be part of the, if you do this, then you have to make people be NRA members, or you have to at least push NRA membership or something like that.
You get that in a lot of different organizations and stuff. But real quick, we're going to go and shift on over to the final topic for today. So, a lot of the prepper videos just really aren't showing up on YouTube right now. I think, pre-election, a lot of us were buying guns and ammo and stocking up, and then the election happened. We thought we were safe. We thought everything was good to go. I think in the last couple of years, you can just tell in the drop in firearm sales after the election that people felt comfortable. For me, like I said, my focus on where my money is going to go is going to change. I'm going to be buying ammo, obviously. Less on the guns, more on reloading, quality optics, and also getting back into food preps. Okay. Question that we had was, hey, how does a person get into food prepping? Where do you begin? Well, you have a lot of options. There's a lot of ways you can start off. You can spend a lot of money, but if you guys food prep or do anything, just maybe share what works for you.
Well, with food prep, here's what I have a rule of basically a rule of necessities is essentially you can't survive more than like 3 minutes without oxygen, or from what I've heard. So don't take that at face value. So you can't go, 3 days without water or around there. And you can't go with like 3 weeks without food. So it's pretty much a rule of threes. So honestly, there's not much that you can do about the air and oxygen thing. But honestly, with certain situations, each person uses about a gallon of water a day. And that's it. That's I guess a very conservative almost number, but that will get you by. So 1 gallon per person per day. And if you want to survive a whole year for one person, it's 360 gallons. So go out and buy those 55-gallon drums. Water does not go bad per se, but it will have contaminants in it that you will have to filter out. So don't rely on going to the grocery store to get your gallons of water in case, things go down and bad things happen.
We've all seen this before. Look what happens. We see the empty shelves at Walmart the days before a hurricane hits, or we see how they have to fly in cases of water because people didn't even think to buy a case, even though they live in Tornado Alley or they live in an area that's prone to hurricanes, and they could get cut off from civilization when the road gets, the river runs over the road, right? You need to have a basic level of sustainability, in my opinion, and there's a lot of ways you can get into that. Cases of water are a great way to do it. They're relatively inexpensive. But you want to make sure you rotate that stock. I'd say monthly if possible, or maybe once a month go buy your 6 or 10, 40 count cases of water. You can get 40 or 42 bottles of water at Sam's Club now for $3.68. $3.75.
Water is pretty cheap, and that is your best bet for preps. Honestly, that is the first thing that you should get is just stockpile water, because ultimately you can find food around. You can get some sort of horrible situation happens. You can get
eat grasshoppers.
Yeah, you can eat grasshoppers. They're a great source of protein. I've done it once.
There's bugs out in the backyard that if you had to get rock bottom versus
ultimately you need water before you can even start with food.
That's probably one of the least expensive prep items you can get yourself into. Now, space might be an issue for some people. The weight of not being able to lift it can be an issue. I understand that.
Yep.
But don't forget go ahead.
Honestly, I would suggest getting new manufacturer, either 5-gallon or 55-gallon, either drums or containers. Personally, I like the 5-gallon containers because you can move them pretty easily. They only weigh about 40 pounds when they're full. Yeah. So you can maneuver them around if you get the big square ones. And I stress get new manufacturer ones, because if you get some that have been used, you don't know what have been used in them. And that whatever chemical or whatever has been used in those containers have leached into the plastic. Now, honestly, plastic leaching into the water is not really a good thing, but in a survival situation, who cares? You know, it's ultimately stock up enough water that you feel comfortable with. You know, I forget, it was like Homeland Security or something made a new like some sort of recommendation, because they say that the power grids can fail. It's the easily hackable or something along the lines, easily susceptible to terrorism or something like that. So
now, yeah, when it comes to the water, don't forget, if you buy the Mountain House buckets, that's going to take water to reconstitute that food. If you don't have cans of Spam or cans of pork and beans and stuff, or peanut butter, right? You're going to need water for cooking. You're going to need it for basic cleaning and bathing. We're talking about a situation where you might be cut off for power and water for a week or 2 weeks. So yeah, the water is going to be the big one. Don't forget, anybody that has a house that has a water heater, if your power's shut off and you've got no water, you've got a hot water heater. I wonder how many people have died from dehydration that get in these situations, even though they've got 50 gallons of water sitting right there in their utility closet. You can there's a nozzle on the bottom you could use to drain. It might not taste the best. You could get some sediment in there, but there is water. You know, or again, fill the bathtub up if you know something's coming, so you have some water you can, you know, clean yourself off with or cook with. Right, fill your bathtub up. If you know the hurricane's coming, and you're not leaving, and you're being told that you need to go or you will be cut off, you better plan ahead.
And ultimately, what another thing is I read an article that like almost 70% of people today are underhydrated. So even if you do like think of that 3 weeks, without, or 3 days without water, that can ultimately be cut in half. You know, I'm gonna be pretty medical with this, but if your urine is like yellow, really, really like concentrated, you need to drink more water. Your urine should be completely clear, or at least close to it. Okay.
And here's something for the holidays too. If you haven't bought anything for your family members, I've got a lot of family members, and I hate to call them out on this. They do no prep whatsoever for food and water. What's in their pantry is what they have, right? Oh, well, I got the fridge, I got the freezer. Okay, when your electricity's cut off within 48 hours, you're done with that fridge. Unless you've got a nice big, you know, cooler out back with ice you can throw stuff into, or it's cold enough where you live that you can set your food out on the patio, it can still freeze. You know, like my own pet, get a Mountain House bucket and give it to a family member, or maybe talk about how you would prepare this in a emergency. Now Mountain House makes like little 3-day buckets for one person or two people. You can buy that, have something, right, and then kind of forget about it. And you might say, well, I can just go to the store and get things. The stores will clean out within 2 days if they don't get resupplied. Within 3 days.
And depending on how densely populated your area is, it can clear out even faster.
We have 2 grocery stores in a town of 10,000. Those places are going to be shot. It's a Walmart and then a mom and pop grocery store. There's a few little markets, but nothing significant. It'll be clear if our interstate would get cut off and the trucks can't make it in, they will be bare shelved within 2 days. So you need to plan ahead. Again, we're not trying to be paranoid. This is the reality of it. People die when we have hurricanes and we have tornadoes because they didn't plan for food and water. Katrina, a bottle of water would get you the keys to a car back in Katrina, because people were stuck. They were stuck on bridges. They were stuck in their homes, and they had nothing. They couldn't drink the water floating around them because the ocean to say hello. They didn't plan ahead. I mean, when you see this happen enough over your lifetime, you get a sense of preparedness, or you should have it. But like I said, even my own family doesn't prep. And
here's another thing that people like to do is they're like, oh, I don't need water preps. I have a life straw. I could just go to the nearest stream and this, that, and the other thing. I was like, well, if you have a chemical spill, those chemicals sometimes are smaller in diameter. Those chemical molecules are smaller in diameter than the H2O that's being filtered out from that filter. So ultimately, like, that can still kill you.
Well, you gotta have electricity, or those faucets aren't going to run unless you have a well.
And another thing is, even if it's like even here, I'm pretty local to a main highway, and the other day a gasoline tanker spilled on a bridge and it went into the local water source, which is horrible. So, you know,
just about half of Jersey on fire.
It's already impossible.
One thing that you can do is honestly get one of those new production 55-gallon drums if you can spare the space, collect. You can even collect the rainwater. If you fill those 55-gallon drums and you go to like REI and you get one of those, I guess they're like filter pumps that have like 7-stage filters in them. Honestly, get one of those because you can easily filter something from a barrel that's not exactly clean, but it will clean out all the contaminants that you can still drink from. And you can either boil it to be extra safe, but in a dire situation, you can drink straight from the filter. But you can always fill other containers. You can't exactly shove a life straw into a 55-gallon drum and then drink away, you know? Because sometimes in situations you have to like get out of there, and sometimes you don't have a water source nearby that you can't directly drink from. So if you have a filter, you can fill bottles and things when you get the chance. That way, if you're in a situation where you don't have water sources around, then you can go from the bottles or things that you have.
I would say the easy way to get into food prepping is just buy the buckets that are pre-made. They're a bit of an investment, but they do give you a week's supply of food or 2 weeks supply of food for $50, $75. You can also get into vacuum sealing, simple carbs, things like rice, protein like beef. Make sure you pack it properly. I don't know. You got to watch out for like small insects and things like that come out of that stuff. It sits for a while. But again, that's an easy way to get into is buying food in bulk and vacuum sealing it. Tony?
Something that people rarely mention on these prepping things is that you best consider how you're going to store the stuff that you've got, because most of the animals that are cute and furry will get into your shit.
Yeah, make sure I would say store it indoors. And there's some comments. Make sure you store it in the dark so it's away from sunlight, it's away from temperature fluctuations. It'll help ensure your shelf stability. And again, a lot of these buckets are good for 5 to 10 years.
You also have to prepare for where you're at, because I know that there's certain counties and stuff where I live at that you're not allowed to collect rainwater. Yeah, like if you have a rainwater catch out in your backyard, and your homeowners association or whatever finds out about it, then you're going to get a fine.
But that's another thing is if you
live in
if you live in a neighborhood like I do, honestly, try to get a good relationship with your neighbors. That ultimately is the best thing that you can do, because even if you don't prep, there's a chance that your neighbors, like if you have a good relationship, they'll help you out. I mean, even if you have a sort of wishy-washy relationship with your neighbors, say their kids are out there riding a dirt bike at like 10 o'clock at night and you want to go to bed, but try to mend your relationship with your neighbors, because that's something that you don't see anymore. Honestly, people go and live in a neighborhood that people don't even wave at each other when they see each other outside of their own houses. Like, you just, oh, hey, yeah, that's my neighbor, and that's all I know about him. Every once in a while, go talk to him, go invite them over for a dinner or something. Try to mend those bonds.
The first thing my wife and I did when we moved into our house is we just went next door and introduced ourselves. We went across the street, a couple houses down. A lot of people, we're a small town, so I know people that live on my block just because I work with them or their kids are in school. But yeah, it's not hard. I mean, but there are some people that are gonna be untrustworthy. It just depends on where you're at too. You might be in a place where everybody's got their own. They drive into their garage. They don't ever see them because they got walls. But again, I would say just get to know them, because those might be the people that come knocking 3 days into no electricity that want something. And if you establish some grounds or get to know them, you can trust them better. So that's something to think about. Just real quick, I wanted to just show this off on Amazon, and then I've got one little thing to show you guys before we call it. Real quick, over on Amazon, again, good. I mean, you can buy these anywhere, but these are kind of what we're talking about for the bucket, $74, $75. Here's a 14-day emergency food supply kit for $259. These can get expensive. We just buy a bucket a month, or 2 buckets a month for a year, and then we've got enough food to basically last us 30 days or 60 days. You can buy, and you can try these little pouches, and this is just one brand. I mean, there's a lot of companies that make this. There's companies you can go to where you can buy for a couple $1,000. You can buy an entire food supply for a year for one person, like Patriot Food Supply and so on. So you can get into it. These are easy, they're convenient, they're easy to store. Mountain House Essential Bucket for $75. A lot of these things are selling at Walmart now. They're selling them at Costco and Sam's Clubs. Also, get a big old jar of peanut butter, man. You've got protein in there. You've got some sugar. You've got some fat. I mean, some basics that you're going to need to survive with. If you just did, you got to have something, because people always think that nothing's never going to happen to them, and that really bothers me. Especially where I live, where I've seen towns wiped off the map from tornadoes, and I've seen towns get isolated because a branch fell across the highway, or ice storms, right?
Yeah. And here's something that I recommend too for water filters. You can get them on Amazon. They might be on the little pricey side, but they're called Zero water filters.
Yeah.
And they filter practically everything out of the water. They're gravity fed. I think they have a 60-liter big one, which is quite a lot of water. And you can basically take whatever water that you have, you pour them in the top, and then over time it filters through. So, and you get, their claim to fame is they have little testers that come with them, electronic testers, and it measures the parts per million of whatever junk is in your water. And from what I've seen, they're pretty darn awesome. The testers that I use, I test my tap water, and it was like 110 parts per million. And I poured it in the water filter, let it filter through, poured me a glass, and then tested the glass, and absolute zero.
Yeah.
Something else that nobody's really thinking about when these things happen is that they best have a way to heat shit up, like a stove, sterno stove.
Some sort of a little tray that you can set your pot on, and then you can heat it from underneath with a can of sterno or some sort of fire, or have a couple extra propane tanks if you have a gas grill.
My parents cook dinner on top of their heat stove all the time, like my entire life. We use like the regular oven, but if when we used to live when I was a kid, we had a coal stove. So right on top of the coal stove, my parents would make dinner. And then still today, I'll go over to my parents' house and they're cooking on top of their regular heat stove.
Yeah, and I suggest what I find is just basically learn how to cook over a fire. That's something that people don't know too often, is how far to hold the pan off the flames, and how often you should rotate your food on the pan, because doing induction or propane is much different than doing it on fire. Another thing is I suggest people to learn how to make what's called a penny stove. They're basically, you take two soda can bottoms, basically stick them together, punch a bunch of holes in them, and then fill it with rubbing alcohol, depending on, and they make pretty awesome little compact grills or
cookers, essentially.
Cookers.
Yeah. So again, that'd be an easy way to get into, and then you can get into things like food dehydration and vacuum sealing and stuff like that. But again, just get yourself a couple buckets and put them in the closet, and just they're there. Somebody made a good point over in the chat. They said you might not want to let people know that you prep or that you have guns or you have food, because they might take advantage of that situation. And in an SHTF situation, yeah, that's true. I mean, again, we're just saying, just come on a friendly, talkative level, a chatty level with your neighbors, so that you know who they are, so you kind of develop a relationship with them. You don't necessarily have to tell them, hey, by the way, I've got 1,000 rounds of ammo in my basement.
I wouldn't ever directly bring it up to your neighbors. I mean, if they allude to it and they kind of allude that they have firearms, it's like, well, yeah, I kind of have this, and just be small about it. Don't tell them that you have 30 rifles, enough to arm the whole neighborhood.
Taken out, you run into them at the store and they're buying ammo or what, you never know.
Yeah, if you run into them and just say, no, I got a 22 bolt action and I guess an AR, and that's about it. But don't give everything away, kind of give bits and pieces.
I don't know. I was at somebody's place and they said smugly, I've got 1,000 rounds of ammo in my basement. And I go, that's it? And they just looked at me like, wow.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just saying as an example. I mean, I think hopefully we all have more than 1,000 rounds of ammo.
With regard to the food preps thing, for a long-term bug-in, grid-down, life's not coming back to normal anytime soon, if you have the space to do it and you can do it securely, gardening, keeping things like chickens, rabbits, stuff like that. That's not a bad idea to get into. Learning how to process your own meat if you go do your own hunting, being able to purify your own water. It's great that you can store water. You know, if you store it in the gallon jugs you buy from the store, those do eventually break down. And I've heard that dioxins from the plastic leach into it, but I don't know if that's actually true.
It can happen.
But being able to sustain yourself now, if you're in an apartment or you're in an area where this isn't somewhere where you could stay long term, okay, fine. But there are all kinds of different things that you can do if you do have the property to do it. Maybe you've got a place up north you go to, or you've got a friend who's a farmer, or you've got a big yard and you're in the kind of neighborhood where you could, maybe it's hard to get in, get out, and you could bug in. Maybe you've got a lake nearby, you can fish. There's all kinds of different things that you can do in the long term. My recommendation for somebody who's looking for information on prepping, whether they're looking to get into it or they've been into it, but they want to network out with other preppers or learn some new stuff, go to a channel called Prepper X. They also have another channel called X Nation. They're a group of preppers. I'm friends with some of them, and the members that come on the shows, they do 3-4 shows a week. The members that come onto the shows all have their own channels, and some of them do videos. For example, Southern Arc Homestead, she is a beekeeper, so she's got beekeeping videos. Mouse Toes cans her own food, and she's been a prepper for a long time. So if you go on her channel, you'll see she'll show you how to properly can the food and store it, and then she'll cook it later and show you how to, have recipes with your canned food. There's different people that bring different things into that community as far as communication or medical or security, and it's a really good group of people. So if you just check out Prepper X or X Nation, you can get a lot of valuable information from those channels.
Squid brings up an interesting point that seems to me that it gets overlooked a lot. And that's, 50, 75 years ago, people prepped just because that's how they had to live. I mean, with the canning food, the growing your own stuff. And it's a shame that it's becoming a lost art.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing about the people on the Prepper X channel is they're all my age or older, and we do talk about. You remember back when we did this manually, or did so there are some skills that are being lost. I mean, simple stuff like being able to stitch, repair, clothing or something like that, or I mean, yeah, it's great, Travis, that you can go and buy a bucket of this stuff and you've got a 72-hour bucket, or the stuff's got a 20-year shelf life. And that stuff is, I think it's good to have that stuff for an interim solution. But if it's a long-term thing where we've had an entire breakdown, like in some sort of zombie movie or whatnot, you've got to be able to do more than hunt. And okay, great, you hunt. Do you know how to cook this? Do you know how to properly gut the animal? Do you know how to store it? Do you know how to properly preserve the meat and things like that? And like what Tony was saying a long time ago, yeah, people did that. They jarred their own food. They if they didn't hunt, they didn't eat for the year. I mean, there was all kinds of. So with people that are in their mid 40s and up, we do remember a time where we had rotary phones and you had to pump the pedal to before you started the car and all these other things. And these newer kids, everything is all, there's got to be an app for it. Well, when the grid goes down, there's no app for it.
Oh yeah.
So
you're doing your kids a disservice by not teaching them the basics.
Yeah, I mean, so learning some of these skills is a good thing. It's just sometimes it's really hard to get people to go out there. So I think it's good though that there are resources like YouTube, so you get a little bit of the modern, right? That'll get people to come in, but then maybe they can start doing some research on their own from there once they get some ideas.
I'll tell you, for living hacks, shall we say, from the old days, the best source I've ever seen is books in the Foxfire series.
Okay.
If you can get a hold of it, wealth of information.
Okay. All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and stop the prepper. Go ahead, AWAG.
Okay. I was also going to say, in certain situations, what people also overlook is basic medical supplies. I mean, I look at my medical closet in my house, and it's basically only rubbing alcohol and Band-Aids. I honestly wish that I had better things in here. But if you come to think about it, any little thing, even as small as a paper cut, can ultimately kill you. And, you know, there's, I have a book that I got at Barnes & Noble a while back in, I think, like 2007, because I was way into the outdoors when you know, I was in middle school and high school, and, you know, but I got a book. It's basically called the Complete Wilderness Training Manual by the Boy Scouts of America.
There you go.
And it goes through everything in this, and it tells you how to deal with sandstorms, where to position your, you know, this is outdoor stuff, but it'll tell you what plants you can eat and how to test to make sure that that plant is edible. It goes into great detail with everything. Honestly, I suggest you pick one of these up. But it goes so far as to how to get your vehicle unstuck from sand, mud. It literally has everything, and it's a small book. You know, it's only about 5 inches tall, and it's only about like 3 or 4 inches wide. It's super tiny, but it jam packs full of like all this information that's, some people will go like, why do you need to do that? You know, there's a section on addressing compound fractures in your legs and all the different types of fractures in your leg. There can be rotational, there's twist, there's compound, there's it just goes into great detail. I definitely suggest you picking up a manual that will show you all these things, and then build your skills on them.
They're not expensive either. I mean, you can pick these up.
This one I paid $7.26 for.
Yeah, readily available, and you can get it to the kids. There's an ebook download, so there you go. They can have it on their phone. Not that it matters if there's no electricity, but still get them into it. You know, it's, you push it across the medium that they're used to, which is their phones. There's a pretty good chance that they will they'll check it out. I need to throw a couple copies of that in my classroom for our daily reading time.
Definitely look it up. It's it's called the Complete Wilderness Training Manual, and it's a little green book by Hugh McManners.
Cool. Well, last thing I have for you guys here today, this is a picture from AC97. I want to get your opinion on this. He just kind of threw this out here for fun. Let me do a little screen share here real quick. And, you know, we were talking about the Schmid Rubin rifle, right? So how about this, guys? The Obriz Swiss K31 handgun. What do you think of that?
Why?
Why not?
Why?
Reasons, the AWAG excuse, reasons, because reasons. Look at
because
that.
he can.
Isn't that awesome? I mean, that is the perfect truck gun right there. I mean, look at that, man. You can take it out to 1,500 meters, right?
Somebody destroyed a perfectly good milsurp with historical value
an A2 flash
for their sick fantasy.
Yeah, that concerns me. Now, if you get something in a parts kit like I did,
come on, what better way to scare away attackers? I mean, look at that, man. You light it up.
Oh my gosh, that's so
like
inefficient.
That's like putting a spoiler on a classic car and ruining it.
Would you blow up your range doing something like that if you're shooting indoors?
Yeah.
A little bit scary because of the powder residue that builds up on the floor and stuff. I don't think I'd want
those cops shooting dragon's breath on that video.
I saw that. Was it Brazilian cops? Is that what it was?
I think so.
Yeah. They light the whole. They burn down the entire range. Oh my god. Yeah,
and that stuff lights up real fast.
This would be
look at that FDE Cerakote, man.
There you go. That's it right there.
Why? I mean, I can understand if you get the rifle in pieces and you do something like that to it, kind of like what I'm doing with my Romanian PSL. It's an actual military rifle that I got as a parts kit, and I'm making it a shorter version. But if you get something in like that and just cut it down just to cut it down and be obnoxious, that
okay. So just real quick, it says Marcel notes the actions mostly come from original rifles where the barrel doesn't meet target shooting standards anymore, and the stocks of many surplus K31s are in bad shape from years of service. So that's kind of what they're doing, is they're just giving new life to the gun that's.
It just looks like it looks like something Captain Jack Sparrow would be carrying.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. It's kind of fun to look at. I if you got the money, man, go ahead, right? But I hate to see destroy it. And you know what's funny is those K31s are probably going to they'll be worth like $1,000 in 5 years. You know,
But they're almost worth $1,000 now.
I know they're $500 rifles to start bidding on one online. So you got to think about that before you decide to let her rip. So, okay, guys, I don't want to be abrupt, but we've got some Christmas things we need to take care of here, and some gifts, and we've got family coming in we got to worry about. So anyway, I want to go ahead and let you guys go. But before we do that, let's just check in and see who was with us on the gun channel side. Jim was over there and here. Patrick was over there and here. Dead Horse in the house. Again, we had Paper Plane Crash and Patrick out there too. Thank you guys for the discussion. I do appreciate your contributions. Over on the YouTube side, lots of people. Mad Sexy over there. What about storing meat like making jerky? Yes, another good way to do it, and then vacuum seal it, and it's good for a long time. Drucifer was with us. AC97, Psycho 316. David Bowling out there and here. Kendrick 98 in the house. Rob D. New York. Blue Steel 44, Chris Gibson, Calibers 32 Special out there also. Midnight Range CM always in the house, always with us. Gizzard Gary was there and here. Local 223, Rob D again. Scott P79 was out there too. Hopefully I didn't mix that. AC97 out there. And anybody else that was with us, thank you so much for joining in. Yep, Scott P79, thank you so much, sir. That's about it. We will be back. See, next Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, we should have another episode of Caliber Corner coming up. That'll be episode 74. Again, just more, viewer suggested topics. Unless you guys ever want to make, like a recommendation for something you want to see sooner, just shoot me an email over at thecalibercorner@gmail.com, and we will do our best to accommodate your needs on that. Any specific topics you want to talk about. Otherwise, I want everybody to have a safe and great holiday week. Whatever you got going on this week, safe travels to everyone. And we'll let the panel go ahead and close this one out. Tony, we'll start off with you. Anything you want to say before we go, bud?
Good day, everybody.
Right on, man. Cool. All right, Squib, what about you? Any parting words?
Can I say bye, Alicia, now?
Bye, Alicia. I think I didn't even
or I'm going to steal one from Food Travis. Shall not pee in fridge.
Shall not pee in fridge, shall not be in fridge, right? Yes. All right, man, cool. Sandhill, you still with us, bro?
Oh, yeah, I'm still here.
All right, man. Anything you want to say before we call it?
Besides that?
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Go check out Sandhill Shooter channel on YouTube, on Gun Channels, on Gun Streamer, on guntube.org. Where am I missing? Facebook. And on Twitter. I occasionally do share a video up on Twitter. It's still Sandhill Shooter. You just have to take the last E out of it because too many letters otherwise. But check us out Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Central Time for 2A Tuesday, starting up again on January 8th. And thanks for letting me come and hang out.
If anybody wants to buy the time slot on Tuesday nights, it's going to be, what, $500 per time slot? You just go ahead and PayPal Sandhills. He will grant you the time slot with no guaranteed interruption, right?
I think that's where the bidding starts, right?
We're going to open the bidding. The reserve.
Yes. The surplus.
The reserve is at 500. Yes, but it could go a lot higher. So yeah, submit those bids to sandhillshooter@gmail.com. Also, any entries into the giveaway should go to sandhillshooter@gmail.com. If you don't know what that is, go to my channel and find out. You can get some free stuff.
Exactly. Cool, man. Cool. Thank you so much. All right, Jim, closing words, bud. Anything you want to say?
Merry Christmas.
Hey, there you go. Feliz Navidad, amigos. That's right. You guys
thanks for the invite. It's a good chat today.
It's good having you. It's a lot of fun. And who doesn't like to talk about milsurp and food storage, right? I mean, again, it's always fun to kind of come back in because a lot of these topics, we haven't covered them for a year or more, so it's neat to come back and see if things have changed with us or if our attitudes have changed or anything like that. So, all right. Gizzard Gary, what do you know, man? What do you think? Are we good?
What do I know? What do I think? Oh, I think a lot of things. Most of them are irrelevant, of course, but just like to encourage everybody, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here. I have a video on writing the president regarding the bump stock ban. A lot of other people do too, and I'm not trying to promote my video, but I'm saying consider doing something yourself along those lines. If you need the address, my video has the address for the White House, and I appreciate everybody who's going through all the trouble, contacting me via social media, etc. Try to make sure that Washington's aware that we're not we're not going to go along with this. So, at any rate, I'm done. I'll get off my soapbox now. Merry Christmas, everybody. Give them the bird, and thanks for the invite.
I'll just say a couple things real quick. Gary, my letter is sitting upstairs. Thanks to you, I got motivated and got that letter written up and got it ready to go, and it's going to go out. Just to show you, if you look at the ratio of people that spoke out in opposition to the bump stock ban versus those that did not, those of us that were against the ban were outnumbered 5-1 for the ATF requests. We didn't do a good job. We did an awful job of getting out there and spreading the word. So that does not look good for us as a community, as a united community. So watch Gary's video, man. It's a step-by-step process on how to simply and easily, in 5 minutes or less, write a letter to send to the president and get it ready to go in the mail. I mean, dude, seriously, it was genius is what it is, because it's like, if you don't follow this, you are just lazy, and maybe you don't deserve those guns if you aren't going to do anything to support the second or get out there and promote our rights and our freedoms, because guys, we're losing them. All right. We need to get out there and do something. So give them the bird, man. Give them both birds. Right.
Yeah. I threw a link out there in the chat for anybody who just wants to see it. And I'm not trying to pad my numbers. Just
it motivated me, here. I mean, we're used to doing a lot of things where a lot of us write those ATF letters and we're always trying to push for it. And sometimes you just kind of, I don't want to say get burned out on it, but it's like you need that little kick in the pants and say, hey, get that letter in the mail, man. Look what we just lost. You want to lose your adjustable triggers now? You want to lose your rate accelerating devices, right? So.
Well, I want to add something to this too. It's I've had so many people say that they focus on the wrong thing. Well, bump stocks are stupid. I don't care. That's not even the problem. It's you had a president who ordered the Department of Justice to do a lawless thing. That's the worst part of this whole thing. It's just.
Whether or not people give them up, it's not even the point. Whether or not there's voting accidents is not the point. Then they'll add the next thing on there. You can't have that Geisley because it's a rate accelerating device. The Geisley triggers the next machine gun, right? Jesus, when does it stop?
And it doesn't take Congress. No. All it takes is the pin and the phone. I thought we were against that.
Oh, you light the trigger on your muzzle loader? Rate accelerating device, machine gun. Oh my God, it's ridiculous. Preloaded powder cartridges, rate accelerating device, machine gun. I'm sorry.
It'll probably accelerate to the point where people are like, everything's a machine gun, so why not just drill the third pinhole?
I saw Mac posted a video with a rubber band around the trigger, right? Rate accelerating device, machine gun, right?
Mac is a rate accelerating device.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to turn himself in to be destroyed.
Confiscated, rate accelerating human being, right?
Yep.
Nicolette. God, I get. I don't want to say give up, but it gets exhausting sometimes. So it's frustrating. It's like, we're that stupid? We are officially that stupid as a species that we now. Oh God. All right. So where are we at, David? David, any parting words? This is me getting upset. All right, David, any parting words?
Yeah. As always, thank you for having me. I appreciate a good conversation, and everybody be happy.
Well, David, I know that you're the new buck here at all these gun channels and chats, and I apologize if we're causing a dent in your wallet every week. I don't want to accept that, that grief on your behalf. So, all right, man. Well, it's always good to have you join us. Jeez, Tony. All right, AWAG. What do you know, man? Anything before we go?
Check out my channel, and I don't know what else to say, because over 1 million people in New Jersey have now been, including some off-duty police officers, have now been considered felons in the state of New Jersey. So
because of the bump stock, or do you guys have another?
No, because we have a magazine ban that bans anything over 10 rounds.
That
applies to off-duty police officers, and the reason why I say that over 1 million people have been basically turned into a felon is because they set up, take back situations, because they're not paying us for the magazines. So there was a 0% compliance rate. So yeah.
Well, do they think that off-duty police officers can have less of a firefight to deal with in a multiple attacker situation when they need to defend lives, that he doesn't need anything or she doesn't need anything more than 10 rounds?
That just shows how badly
it's a feel-good measure.
Yeah, they're going to feel good when you're 5-1.
They're going to fix that, though, right, AWAG? I mean, they can't have cops having to comply with these laws?
Yeah, I don't know. That's up to the governor, who ultimately is not in the States anymore. He's in Tanzania on a safari to just look at animals.
Hey, here's some food for thought, kind of some parting words. Stephen Kaiser, I have to give you a clap, my friend. Look at this. Yeah, stand up against the tyranny and move to the Midwest where we love our guns. Amen, brother. Come on out to the Great Plains. There's lots of room to practice.
Support. Why not just take your state back? You know, that's why we have the Second Amendment.
That's right. Tyranny. Because we don't want everybody flooding into Nebraska. It won't be the good life anymore.
We got plenty of room. Still plenty of room. We're fine.
Honestly, it's not for everyone.
I've been a little further south where the climate's a little better.
Yeah, we like our elbow room. That's why it's not for everyone.
Kansas is it right there. That is the gold. That's a golden standard right there. Constitutional carry. Amen. All right. So just parting words. Make sure you guys check out gunchannels.com. Make sure you check out yourwebsites.com. Support GunTube. Support it on Patreon. Let's keep our platforms running. And again, you can see a lot of us on multiple platforms, and we'll keep making the content and putting stuff out there as much as we can. If we never disappear from YouTube, you can always find us on Gunstreamer, YouTube, gunchannels.com, and so on. Otherwise, guys, that's it. This has been Caliber Corner episode number 73. Have fun, be safe, and we will see you soon. We'll talk to you guys soon.
I need to add something else here right quick.
Do it, Tony.
Check out Rick's Life as I see it this afternoon at 3 o'clock Central Time.
And real quick, if you want to continue the chat after this show, head on over to gunchannels.com. Dano's going to have a lobby running. They're going to be talking about some good stuff. So Dano will let you kick that off for this Saturday afternoon and continue the fighting the good fight, man. All right, y'all have a good one. Have a good one. Have a great Christmas holiday. Have safe travels, and we will talk to you next Saturday.
Bye, Felicia.
Give him the bird. Merry Christmas.
Shall not give the bird infringements, Felicia.
Adios.
Bye, Alicia.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
Merry Christmas.